pride comes a fall. Did anyone hear you call as you drove your Volvo into a canal? Oh, this is it. I love you, but I've nowhere else to go. I'm a depressed CEO. I'm a depressed CEO.
Oh, cool, we're going. Nice. Dave's just having some crisps. And I'm sat here with the one and only, the Rev himself, Mr. Jon McClure. Welcome to the...
Where do I look? Hello.
Welcome to the settee, mate.
Welcome, Jon.
Mate.
Thanks, lads.
Lovely to see you. I'm repping the merch, of course. DJ for you for Day Fever. So we're here. We're having a chat. What have you been up to?
Oh, I had a mad week last week. I were in Switzerland. Then I went to Dublin, Day Fever Dublin.
Wild, man.
Which were amazing. And I filmed a music video over 2 days in Sheffield for a new single that's coming out for Christmas.
Big.
So done that, and then plotting this big show next year, this 20 years anniversary show for Reverend and the Makers. So I'm very, very busy and sort of trying to keep a lot of information in my mind. You know, when you feel like you've only got so much bandwidth.
Mate, absolutely. Yeah. I was going to say, how are you juggling all of that and not just...
Well, they made me CEO of Day Fever, which is mental, innit? I mean,
yeah.
CEO, right? But like,
sick, mate.
I'm doing it. I'm being a CEO, right? We're trying to do it like in more and more places abroad and festivals and make it a full thing because it's a mental business.
Dude, it's all good for me, mate. I get gigs and I get to travel and play to people that like to dance. So for people that don't know you, singer, DJ, performer, beat poet.
Yeah, a lot of things.
Everything.
CEO.
CEO, mate. Yeah, CEO.
Yeah.
Not a doctor yet.
No, not a doctor. No, our mutual friend, James O'Hara, who's my childhood friend and my business partner in Day Fever. He is a doctor, and he takes great pleasure in reminding me that he's now a doctor, which is hilarious. And,
but you have been ordained.
Well, I mean, ordained is very much a nickname.
My missus said that. Said about like, ask him about being ordained.
So my mum is a qualified, when she retired, she was like, I'm going to be really busy, Jonathan, and I'm going to do lots of things. And she qualified to be a registrar to marry people.
Oh, amazing.
So it's possible between us.
Yeah.
I can kind of do the Reverend bullshit.
Yeah.
And she can actually be the registrar legally.
One of my questions was going to be, have you ever been asked to marry somebody, like be the officiant of somebody's wedding or anything
There's a
like
bit
that?
of chat about Stars and Stace, who was two of our Day Fever DJs, who you know.
Legends, shout out Stars and Stace.
Stars, obviously, musical superstar. She was in the fantastic Bang Bang Romeo, and he's going to launch a solo career, actually. She's got a voice like a fucking jumbo jet, right?
Yeah, it's insane, man.
But her and her girlfriend, Stacey, have recently got engaged, and they're going to get married. And there's a bit of chat about maybe me doing it, like, so I'd love to.
That'd be class, that. Me and my missus got married a couple of years ago, and we got married legally, did like a little legal ceremony, just our parents there and that. And then for the actual, like, all our mates being there, we just got our pal Chris in. You know Chris Arnold, DJs for Day Fever as well. Yeah, so he married us.
Love it.
We wrote him the script and he just delivered it because he does like comedy and stuff. I was like, this is just perfect. It's so nice just to have
that's the way to do it, mate.
It was class.
Especially when you're paying like 10, 20 grand for a venue or whatever you like.
Yeah, I think it's got to be like personal to you. We had this like weird. We got married in Positano because Laura's obsessed with James Bond, but we had this like humanist, weird mental sort of pagan thing in a field in this tent, and all got absolutely spangled and went nuts, and it was wild.
It sounds lovely though, mate. Like I feel like your wedding's just one of them things. Like I don't want to shit talk people that just go, oh, just do like that venue and like just have it all just the same, because sometimes it is easier. But I feel like make it your own.
Well, they're not getting married, right? It's you.
That's it. Yeah. That's
my brother caused havoc at mine though, because this is when he still. Were very much Chris McClure, Steve Bratton, who were on your pod recently, obviously. He was still on the good stuff back then, and he got absolutely annihilated. Got up and did his speech because he was best man, obviously, best mates as well as brothers. And he made them. My mate, who was into politics, he said, John, he went, I've been in Cuba and watched Castro speak. He went, I've been in Venezuela, watched Chavez speak. He went, I've been in Parliament, I've watched 5 prime ministers. He said, I have to tell you, John, he said, that is the single best piece of public oratory I've ever seen. Now, Chris swore so much. My missus is posh, yeah? Chris swore so much. I could see him like, they were looking at him like he descended from another planet. Like it was so offensive what he said. It was fucking amazing. Amazing.
Brilliant.
I can almost hear it in like Bracknell's voice. Although I feel like he's a different person when he's Bracknell. He came in here as Chris and then he stayed as Bracknell and then he left as Chris. And we were like, when did he change into the other person?
It was fascinating to watch.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like
I have to say, I know he's my brother, and obviously I'm in Bracknell as a straight actor. Really,
yes, yeah.
Playing the sort of not funny guy as opposed to Chris is very funny guy. I have to say, like, as a creative force, he don't back himself enough, right? He don't have the drive or self-confidence I have to just, whatever. But I have to say, as a creative force and as a comedian and as a writer and stuff, I think he's a bit of a genius. I really do think he's amazing. Like,
I agree.
It's next level the stuff that he's doing, and it connects with so many people because it's simplistic, not in a way to put it down and say it's like it's basic or whatever like that, but it's heartfelt and it's like the characters so it's got so many levels and it was so funny just having him in here, just chatting to him and just flinging him a question and him making up like years of information just on the spot. I mean, some of it's probably been developed over the time or whatever, but he's just so
he's a lot more sort of cerebral than people think, and I think there's a problem at commissioning editor level because he gets millions of views, so the obvious popularity of it, given how many followers he has on social media and how many views he gets, is undeniable, right? And for whatever reason, it's not been picked up by telly, but I think as and when it does, which is inevitable.
It's got to, yeah.
I said it'd be great as a show. Like,
it'd fly, right?
Yeah, it would. Like having I don't think I've ever seen like a comedy about like a Sunday League team. Like, there's something special about it. I've never seen that in like done on TV or on YouTube. Yeah. I think he's like hit a niche there.
And he also he understands like ordinary people, Chris, in a way that I would love to be able to have that gift. I mean, to a degree, maybe I had it on my first album when I lived a more working class life or whatever you want to call it. But Chris understands people and he's a mimic. He mimics people. So the guy it's actually based on Tom Rowley, who played in Milburn and Arctic Monkeys. He's actually based on his dad.
Yeah.
Because him and the Carner brothers from Milburn, the Carner brothers' dad was the manager, like my character. Yeah. And Steve Bracknell's a guy called Rob Rowley, and it's based on a real guy. And like, I was in the
best characters are.
I was in the studio recently, and Rob, who it's based on, came down. And I couldn't take him seriously anymore. He's like, me and Arlinda. And I'm like, oh my God.
Does he know? Does he know?
He knows.
Yeah.
And he loves it. He like loves it, right? Yeah. I mean, I think it's done from a place of love and
of course
affection. It's not. He's taking piss out of him, but he's doing it in a way that like he loves it.
It's a love language, is what it is. Yeah. No, that's a very British thing as well. You like when you're mates and it's very pally. It's like it's a very I think it is not an exclusively British thing, but it's a very like if you do love someone, you do jab them.
A lot of them, and also a lot of them classic British comedy characters. I'm thinking now about Royal Family, all them characters,
Royal Family,
or Del Boy, or Basil Fawlty, or a lot of them people. Some of Dad's Army guys. All right, they take it piss out of stereotypes and British characteristics, but in a way that like I love you.
Well, the Fawlty Towers one is unbelievable because it's literally based on a hotelier, isn't it? That John Cleese was staying in a hotel in Torquay and with the Monty Python lot, and everybody else from Monty Python was like, this guy is a nightmare, we're going to stay somewhere else. And John Cleese stayed there for days just watching this guy.
They loved him. There's a bit of
fascinated
there, right?
by him. Yeah. That's it. It's class. And then like paying tribute to it in a way that's like, I love your character and just who you are so much that I'm going to emulate it in my own way and just take it to an outrageous, like, either side of where you are down the middle kind of thing. It's class, man.
You have those people in life though, you'll just go through and they are characters and you just see them. I've worked with characters. I can think of one in my head. I used to work with my boss and he used to be just a funny, I was fascinated by him. I said, if I ever write a sitcom, which is a dream of mine, I'd love to do him as a character. He's just, he doesn't understand it. So what do you mean? Like
and I think
I'm not a character.
I'm not nationalistic, but I think comedy is one of the things that we do well.
Yeah,
As
It's
it
like
is.
self-deprecating
Absolutely,
with UK comedy, isn't it? It's a lot of self-deprecating humour, which I kind of like. I love that.
I think we're the best. I see comedy from around the world, and yeah, the Americans have got some funny shit, but like I just think comedy's something the British we're so good at it, and there's a weird melancholy to our comedy that's hard to sort of understand.
Yeah,
but it's
true.
I was saying to you before, I've been listening to a lot of your music and stuff, and I was like, I go back to the beginning because 2007-ish or whatever, I remember going to see you at Leeds Fest.
okay.
So you played Leeds Fest in the Augustine. I think the album came out maybe a month,
Something like that.
month
Yeah.
or two after.
Yeah.
But I'd never see a new heavyweight
Yeah.
champion, and then I was like, I'll go and see him live because this would be great. I think it was just one of the smaller tents. Dragged my mate with me, and we were watching. He did some of the tunes off the album that I'd never heard before, and he said he loved me. Come on, and I was like, this is just so funny. Like you've got that kind of British comedy style almost in your lyrics, but they're like sharp as well.
It's
like,
funny actually because the new single that's out today, as it's going to be,
yeah, big up.
it's called Late Night Phone Call, and I've almost gone all the way around the clock.
Yeah.
So I made a lot of political music, a lot of serious music, a lot of weird music.
Yeah.
I've gone all the way around the clock, back to slightly funny. So the video's like way over the top. I'm like on my knees. There's like gospel singers, Elvis, Santa
And
Claus.
that's coming
This
out
is
soon.
today.
It's,
it's
out,
today?
it's out
Out
today.
today.
It's out today.
I've literally put a note down.
But the
I'll put that out
lyrics,
Yeah.
I'm being funny. It's me walking home drunk, saying to my missus, "I love you." It's not even. I don't mention Christmas, and it ain't got a chorus. But it's weirdly a Christmas pop song. You'll understand that when you hear it. And I'm ringing her, and I'm on about like, "I hope you've made me an apple crumble" and all this stupid, funny shit, right?
Yeah.
And we do that well. I'm thinking of Heavily Pregnant Brothers now and things like that.
Yeah, they're great, man.
John Shuttleworth. Sheffield's got that in its DNA as well.
It does, mate.
Some of the pulp stuff's funny, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
But
that's true. Yeah, it's got
the,
this tinge of like comedy to it for
Little
sure.
Taking a piss, like.
I watched a documentary about Sheffield. Forget the name of it. It'll come back to me. But there's a scene in it basically where they're talking about pulps like evolution, because in the 80s they've been going around doing some really sort of avant-garde stuff, and then they developed in the sort of, I think it was almost a bit of a joke, wasn't it, that they wrote like common people and stuff, because I think Jarvis was like, I just want to write a pop album just for fun, and then wrote the most amazing pop album ever and literally became a pop star.
I love them, man. They hold a very
Unbelievable.
special place in my heart, and I've become very close over the years to Nick Banks, because him and his wife Sarah
Yeah.
are good friends with me and my missus, and they're like lovely with my kids. They're so beautiful with them, and like
Is that
live round the
weird,
corner.
becoming like mates with your hero?
A
kind
bit,
of
but
thing?
I've become mates with a few of my heroes over the years,
Yeah.
luckily and weirdly. But I think where Pulp are concerned, it's that they were the only, maybe Long Pigs a bit, but they were the only ones who would ever done out from around here at that time. They were Human League, but it seemed
Yeah.
like a million years ago.
Well, I listened to a few old interviews as well when we were doing prep for this, and I think you were saying in one of them, you were saying that having Pulp in the 90s almost made you believe that you could. So like you went into like the early 2000s in Sheffield is obviously legendary for all the bands that came out, but you said that because you had that in the 90s, when you were making music, it was never like, oh, we can't do it, because you've already seen it done.
They were only ones, and I think they also did it in a way that like they weren't. Oh, well, Jarvis is a superstar, but in a sort of very crap Sheffield
Yeah.
jumble sale kind of way, right? Like not in a unattainable way. You kind of look at Jarvis and you think like, oh, I could fucking do that. And also the other thing I loved about him is they had that song Misshapes, right?
Yeah.
And I were always really tall and lanky and very skinny actually, and I looked a bit weird.
Yeah.
And I kind of used to think, oh, well, it's all right to be weird and look a bit weird and talk a bit weird and be a bit mental, because look at them. Look at them lot. They look crackers.
Yeah.
And I sort of, that really appealed to me. It just made me think like I'm a lot less alpha than people assume I am, because I'm big and I'm mouthy. They think, oh, you're going to be like, ugh. And I'm not. I'm the opposite, right?
Yeah.
I'm actually very nervous and a bit fucking awkward and ADHD and shit. And
I think we can both resonate with that.
I mean, come on, right? Fucking hell. Do you know what I mean?
I'm getting tested for ADHD soon.
Oh,
yeah,
mate.
proper, just all over the place.
It's
My
changed my
mind doesn't
life
stop.
knowing I've got it.
Yeah, I discovered that. That's something I got a note down here. Like, it was, I was always afraid to talk about it because, the internet kind of almost trivialized it a lot. And I was always afraid to be like, because I thought something's going on here. My missus picked up on it. She was like, she lived with me and she's like, okay, there's something else going on here. Whether you want to call it like neurodiverse or whatever, spicy. And it's just like, I didn't want to, I was like, everybody thinks this way. But the more I learned about it, the more I was like, oh, I've got a brain that's just.
It's also what makes you brilliant, probably.
Exactly.
Well,
it's like
right?
a superpower and a curse. And I'm starting to learn that now. And I'm like 37 coming up on Saturday. And knowing that just about 3 or 4 years ago, I've kind of been like, okay, you hack things now. And you realize the things that work for you don't necessarily work for other people.
I can do 3 years working 48 hours, like.
It's crazy.
And everyone's like, I don't know how you've done that. And then other times I'll have like paralysis.
Yeah,
yeah. I've got 4 unfinished novels.
Dude.
They're all brilliant.
Pick it up, put it down.
They're all fucking brilliant,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like toe to toe all. So my thing is, and also anger, right, which has characterized a lot of my life. And I'm on this crusade to be a better human, right? So I went round earlier this year apologising to 53 people. Have apologised to.
That's definite 53. Like you.
Well, there's
that
more.
Number.
I thought I'd done, and then we're talking to a musical compatriot of mine last week, and we're talking about people I've upset, and then through course of talking to them, I'm like, oh fuck, there's more than 53. But I'm on that like my name is Earl thing, you know, like
Yeah.
And I held off doing it for ages because I thought to myself, if I apologise, they're going to think it when we fell out or when this kicked off that it were all my fault. And then I thought, no. I can't police their response. I'm just apologising for my bit of it. I don't need to say anything about their bit. If they think they've done wrong or right, whatever, that's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is, have I helped with my anger? Have I helped by being ADHD as fucking? No, I haven't. So I went round and I'm here, mate. Remember, like in 1987 when I stood on your foot and called you a prick. Well, I'm sorry, yeah. And like some people are like, John, I never even knew like that happened. Like,
I can't. So it's so insignificant.
Sat in your head though.
Some things like that are so insignificant to other people, but so significant to you. And even if they can't remember, I bet it felt real good to exercise all that out of your
I felt
mind.
like $1 million after, and I said to them, they went, "You don't need to apologise." I went, "I'm not doing it. This sounds awful, but I'm not doing it, and I need to apologise."
Yeah.
And some of them, they were so hard to do it.
Yeah.
So galling because it's. Why did I get angry? What? Because I'm a bit jealous of you, or you know, some ugly emotions in me that I'm thinking this is difficult. And you know, when you open your heart up like that and try and be a better person and try and have some self growth, the fucking rewards you get from it are like, oh shit, I'm free from feeling bad about all of that shit.
It's the ego, man. The ego wants you to feel those kind of like jealousy, greed. That's my kind of stuff. I've dealt with that the past 4 or 5 years. I've tried to drop my ego as much as
it's ugly,
I can.
right?
It's ugly, yeah. Like even conversation with my girlfriend and I say girlfriend, fiance, bloody hell. And we just develop because we understand each other. We actually talk. We don't squabble, and we just. I can feel myself getting angry. You know, when somebody says something you're like but you just. I almost visualize it now as a different entity. I'm like, okay, why am I upset?
Although you have
And
said on
because
this
of my-
podcast that sometimes that you think one day maybe it's all just going to come out.
You're
All the anger's gonna
Combust.
boil up and it's just gonna combust in
I've
one.
got a punching
big
bag called
collar.
Bob. He's like, you ever seen those Bob
Yeah,
things?
right, yeah.
Yeah. I got one
Give
in
it
my
a good
room.
twatting,
I
yeah.
do sometimes. Yeah. I used to play. Well, I'm a big gamer, and sometimes I stress out on that and to get out my anger and a little bit of entertainment because I used to stream as well. I just sat there. Like,
What's your game? What's your game on?
I'm a PC gamer, proper geek.
Me too.
Proper geek.
I love this nerdy shit. What's your thing?
Oh God, what isn't my thing? So I'm a big Rocket League player.
Okay.
League of Legends. What am I playing?
These like Steam games, right?
Yeah. Steam games.
I play. This fucking
No, mate. Tell me.
We're like going into
mate,
deep hyper ADHD.
No, let's go.
geek.
Yeah, that's what it helps with.
Crusader Kings, mate.
Crusader Kings.
Tropico, I like.
Yeah.
Big on Tropic. Footy Manager obviously is back.
There's like strategy games, aren't there? Kind of.
Yeah, but mate, like Football Manager is like. I've took a lot of drugs. There's no other way of saying it, right? I've took a lot of drugs.
Amen. Same here.
And like, how can I not take loads of fucking drugs? Or we get addicted to something that's
where my addiction
surface
is.
level benign.
Football Manager, let's go.
So like, I'm gonna fucking go to like 2050 when I'm 86 on Footy Manager, right? Them levels, and then like, you know what I mean? Like, I've got like interviews and
Who do you play Footy Manager? Do you play your team?
play Wednesday.
You play Wednesday.
You won't play any other team.
I sometimes play Man United and just have a bit of a slutty one. Where I just wanna,
Do you ever take like a really shit team from the
no,
really
like
bottom?
my mates and his mates do this thing where they take like my mate Jim Taylor, he has this fucking thing where him and his mates always manage like Blythe, and they have like they all manage Blythe, and it's like who can get furthest.
I used to do that on FIFA with certain teams where, like Asian teams and things like that, where their rating's really low, but I wanted just to push them and see if I can get them through the Premier League.
Me, I'm like Wednesday fine. But sometimes I'm just like, just give me fucking Champions League in 2 years. Let me sign fucking Iniesta and just fuck off, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, I went to Factory, to Football Manager Factory.
Mate, that's sick.
They used to do a thing it's on like Old Street in London, and they used to do like regens. So like, say Ronaldo retires, they're going to assign his stats to a young one starting up, and they'll assign names to him in this database. And they're like, well, what we can do, John, we can put your name in the database. So
I bet he was like, yeah.
Mate, there's a Jon McClure. But for some reason, he always bugged out, and he always used to play for Wycombe Wanderers. But then this one time, I played this game, and I'm managing one team, and there's like Jon McClure, and he's like some class Portuguese dude. And I'm like, got to fucking sign him, right?
Have to.
So basically, I signed myself.
Yeah, that's it.
Class.
That's a dream of mine to be in a game. Oh, I'd love to be in a game. Yeah.
Mate, you've also had a tune on FIFA.
But two.
You have
Double
actually,
bubbles,
yeah.
So first,
2000, I want to say 2006, 7.
First one, open your window, right?
I think 7.
It's 7.
And 13,
open your window.
Yeah,
I remember being in that fucking menu, and I said to my mate, we're interviewing Reverend the Makers. He goes, no fucking way. And he said, do you remember FIFA? I was like, oh shit.
Do you still get a lot
of
love?
It all clicked.
It's funny, like, where people know your band from, right? They know you from different...
They know you, but they don't know you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's how exactly I knew you, because I was like, okay, who's Reverend the Makers? And I went, oh, yeah, fucking hell.
So, like,
song.
Depending on what your life is, like, so, for a time, I was very close to Jeremy Corbyn.
Mate, you're literally the reason for the chant, right?
Right, yeah, so I got, kind of. I got Jeremy on stage because I'm a lifelong socialist and had done that justice campaign for the Hillsborough disaster.
Yeah.
And we got a #1 single and did a tour with Mick from Clash and all that. And Jeremy...
Mate, what a life, man.
I know, mental, right? He rang me up, Nick Jones, when I was fucking peeling spuds. He's like, do you want to sing Joe Strummer's bit at fucking Leadmill and on tour? We're like... fucking thought we're tripping. I'm like, yeah. So done that anyway. Jeremy's come to this fucking gig now at Prenton. Is it Prenton Park? Tranmere's ground.
Yeah.
And they're like, Jeremy wants to get on stage and make a speech. And I'm like, and obviously Jeremy knows you're a socialist. Can you drop a song and have Jeremy on halfway through and introduce him? I'm like, no fucking danger. Jezza, get on. Blah blah. He gets on, and some lads in crowd, they just start going, oh Jeremy. So we're like, all in background doing this now, right? Like getting them, egging them on a bit.
Yeah.
And from there, it just snowballed. It went all over country. Like,
yeah, mate. That's
wild,
sick, that, innit?
Wild.
Yeah.
He comes to some gigs. He come to
Does
last
he?
gig in London. Him and his lad Tom and his missus Laura and that, and a bunch of other MPs who were kind of his pals, and they all come down and hung out. And
Does he tap you up for guest list and that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, and we
All
just
right,
sat there
Rev, sort
talking
some
about
guest
like Salvador Allende and South American fucking.
I didn't know what chant he was on about until you started going, oh, Jeremy Corbyn. There we go.
He's a nice guy, right? Like,
yeah.
I think he would.
He's been done bad. He's been done kind of bad, hasn't he? The press had a field day with him because obviously they would.
I kind of wish, and maybe this is not him, and it's not in him to be like this, but I kind of wish he were more combative and sort of fucking give him some back.
More divisive, more just.
But that would be the opposite of what he is, isn't it?
He's a chill guy, and his views on he wants the best for the world. He's motivated by pure intent, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's a bad bone in his body really, and I miss him. I think I'm a bit sort of I've been very political over the years, right? But I'm in a very like non-political phase where I just kind of, in America, even with Trump getting in, or Democrats or Labour or Tory, and I'm a bit like, what the fuck is going to change my life? Nothing.
Yeah, I think everybody's sort of disassociated.
They had 10. I think it's 10 to 12 less voters in America. 10 to 12 million less voters in America than they did back in 2020.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show there's just not a lot of people that turned up. I think people are more like now. Like, yeah, they're in the camp of, is it going to change anything really? Like, they all kind of, for me, I'm not very political. I try not to be because it divides people. And that's really sad. But
I think it can sometimes come from a place of, it sounds like it's an ignorant thing to say, oh, they're all the same. I've got a politics A level. I did history and politics at
so
uni.
So this is interesting as well. Like where your
I didn't know this.
your influences sort of come from. And
Yeah, and I grew up in a very working class family who would all devoted their entire life to NHS.
Yeah.
Died in wool socialist. It's not what I'm saying to you here is not coming from a place of ignorance. I'm on the Adam Curtis. I don't know if you watch Hypernormalisation, his film, or Bitter Lake, or any of that. I'm there, and I'm weirdly Dominic Cummings of all people fucking agreed with me.
Wow.
On the problem, if not the solution, because he's got a very different solution.
Yeah.
Politics is fucking stuck, like in this weird dreamlike state where you think that you've got some say over what goes on. Now you haven't. Like these people who end up getting elected who are allowed by the media and by big finance and all that shit. These people who end up in power, they're not going to change anything. They're gonna retain this sort of dull neoliberal fucking centrist consensus with like little flecks of right wing authoritarianism every now and again. The fact is, like the voting system's fucked. It don't make any difference. It don't make any difference until we get some sort of PR and see what first thing I'd do come the revolution. If you lie about someone in the newspaper, you have to print it same size. The apology, the retraction. You watch how quickly this country gets this sickness we've got and that America's got. You watch how quickly this country recovers from that the moment you brought that in as a law. Yeah? So all that shit they say about Corbyn, all that fucking bile that they spill about him, you have to say sorry because it's not true, is it? He's a Hamas supporter. He's not a Hamas supporter. He has talked to Hamas before because he believes in you've got to make peace.
Yeah. But that's it. You have to talk to everybody to get the story, right?
The Americans are talking to fucking Hamas. Believe me, they're talking to them. Yeah, because how are you going to make a peace if you don't talk to them?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Retraction, apology, same size. There's a sickness in the West, right? A malaise because nobody's really sure what the fuck's going on because people are allowed to lie with impunity.
Do you feel as if, and I don't know, I'm just imagining because there's so many red tape and like you said, the system we've got currently, and it'd be good to get your perspective on this because you're in this game. So it's like the system currently we've got is clearly not working. Something's wrong. Mm-hmm. Everybody can kind of see that. Do you reckon we should vote more on policies than people and teams? Do you know what I mean?
I think you've got there's a definite danger of direct democracy like that. Educate me. Yeah. You're going to get fucking freak results then because something bad's going to happen and people. Do you know what I mean? And also there's a level of bad education and all that. I think it's about changing the voting system from first past the post.
I don't like things being involved in teams, and when you got a set of policies, there might be like 5 that you agree with and 10 that you don't, and then it creates this. Well, I'm voting between the lesser of 2 evils, and there's only 2 that are really going to win. One of the 2. Yeah. So therefore, you're either throwing your vote away if you're voting for someone that has all the right policies that you like, but they've just not got a chance.
But Green Party in Sheffield, I like a lot of Green Party policies. Are they going to get in? Are they going to win?
So if you vote for them, it's not a wasted vote, obviously, because you've used your vote, but also it's like, I don't know, wherever I vote, it's like Labour win every time, because I live in Manchester. Yeah. Labour stronghold, isn't it? Yeah. Similar to Sheffield, I suppose. So I'm like, it's not that I don't vote, but I'm like, Labour are going to win. So I
think you've got like an 18th century model that's not fit for purpose in the 21st century.
Yeah. True.
The way democracy works in the West, and
how do you even begin to solve it?
The whip's weird, isn't it? The whip. I always try and figure out the whip. They've broken the whip.
The whip.
Yeah, we've said, like I was thinking, Devo, I was like, whip it. Whip it good. And I'm like, broken the whip. Oh God. Ooh.
Yeah.
And whip me, Daddy.
And American politics is insane. I was watching that race because I was up. Because I'm always up late, up until 4, 5.
Yeah, me too. That's ADHD there, right?
Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah. And I was just watching the race, and I was thinking, it's like you vote for a team, man. And everybody, and then you got I don't know, it's called the popular vote. I was like, I don't get any of this.
And America has the Senate as well, right? And then they have the Senate, and then they have is it the House? Or
the House.
Have you ever heard this? I nearly tried to have this in a lyric once and never managed to do it, but I'll get there one day. Paleolithic emotions, because we're not very far evolved from the fucking Stone Age, right? Medieval institutions, the royal family, parliament, binary choice at democracy, godlike technology. This is where we are. This is why we
dude.
wonder why everyone's fucking confused. Like,
Yeah.
that's what's wrong with us.
It's too advanced.
We're only a few thousand years out of like
That's
scratching
like-
each other's arse in
That's like
fucking
two
trees.
people. That's 2 generations or 3 generations, right? That's not, when you talk about it in generations, because people think, oh, it's years ago. You just got to count back 2 or 3 people, and that was slavery. Pretty much.
This is what I mean, and like in an evolutionary sense, in an emotional, less political, more evolutionary human sense.
Amen. Yeah.
It's only a few thousand years ago we were fucking sat climbing trees and scratching each other's batties and that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So our emotions are quite sort of basic, and then you add in the ability for me or you or Donald Trump or Elon Musk to fucking say some mad shit on the internet, and theoretically thousands of millions of people can see it.
So Chinese whispers.
I don't know if we're so far like removed from his natural self, right? Like, my mate's got this theory about you sat in a box in your house, then you get in another box, your car, go to your place of work, which is another box.
Yeah.
It's not right, is it?
Loads of people say stuff like, for years and years and years, we've strived to have like the houses, the technology, the heating. Like we've advanced everything so much, and then we've realised that the best thing we could do is just get back to nature. So people have now realised, all we needed to be happy was just to be outside in a field and like just walk and like look at the trees, look at the ground, and like feel everything underneath you. And
My
like,
missus taught me that more than anything. She's into that, and then by proxy, I am.
Does your missus hug trees? Like,
Proper. She
goes up to trees and talks
I'll
to them
play
and that.
this at some point on the podcast, but we've got a Google Nest which records whatever near our bin, and on the top of a bin she has this.
What's that, like a ring
plant.
doorbell?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, like a ring doorbell.
I'm
And-
obsessed with that.
Long story long, she says how she talks to it, and I didn't believe her necessarily. And then we caught her on the Google.
On the Nest.
Every morning, mate, 7:30, she'd be like, hello, and start talking to the plant. She watched herself and went, oh my God.
But-
I'm crazy, I am. But I was like,
Yeah.
no, that's sweet. I love that because she
Yeah.
believes talking to the plants and that, and it helps
I'm
them
into
grow.
that
and-
long story long. I'm gonna write a song called Long Story
Long Story Long.
That's a
mate.
fucking
like that.
song title.
I also like the thing before. That's like an Adam Curtis kind of style song, isn't it? That What did you say?
Paleolithic emotions, medieval institutions, godlike technology. I had this lyric.
It's good,
I'm gonna
man.
fucking copyright this.
Copyright
visually
it.
now.
I'll make a note.
I had this lyric and
You're seeing
it said Paleolithic emotions, medieval institutions, godlike technology. My God, my head hurts. Like, I feel
It's
fucking
good,
I
man.
feel fucking confused by this shit. Like,
When
We're not designed to take this in. We're not designed to be on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Just
it's so much stimulation.
Yeah, it's too much.
me, like I'm dopamine off my tits.
Yeah,
like, you
all
know what I mean?
day, every day. I've got a podcast in my ear. I've got music. I need food in my mouth.
You know
I
what
need
best-
something.
You know what best I've felt? Bearing in mind, I don't really take drugs anymore, right?
Yeah.
The best I've felt in perhaps ever in my life was recently.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine gave me a magic mushroom microdose.
Lovely.
And I had it,
Interesting.
and then I had a little bit of chocolate, like a third of chocolate, yeah?
Yeah.
So I weren't tripping, I just lights looked nice, and I was watching Richard Hawley.
Oh, good.
To give you that lift.
light.
did it?
I'm just watching him.
At a gig live.
Like, at Rock and Roll Circus in town,
Beautiful.
and I'm watching Richard, who's a beautiful soul and a lovely man and like a fucking big brother sometimes to me. He advises me, right? And I'm watching him, and I've had this mushroom, and I weren't off my head at all. And I felt so calm and so centered and so sort of, and I'm remembering things, making sort of mental. I'm talking to this guy, and I'm like, how's your wife, Margot? How's your kid? And I would never have even known her name, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt like the smartest, and I'm like, there's something in this. Like, I think mushrooms are going to fucking.
Yes, sir.
There's a revolution going on in sort of the researching all this stuff at minute,
Oh,
right?
dude, yeah.
Psilocybin and all this stuff.
Absolutely, mate.
Sound like I'm going fucking full Joe Rogan.
No, let's do it.
I listen to Joe Rogan a lot. I watch a lot of his podcasts. I am a fan. Whether that is a bad thing or a good thing, I don't know.
Well, we're lions maned off our tits at the minute.
Mate, it's good
Yeah,
shit. Like,
it's great.
I've
Yeah.
never. The only psychedelic I ever did was 2CB back in the day.
Wild, right?
Wild, yeah. I was happy one minute, then really
Yeah, I've had it a couple
paranoid.
of times,
You
not
know,
for
like,
me,
oh
like.
my God. But I want to dip my toe into like mushrooms. I don't know if acid is a bit strong for
Not
me.
too much, forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Mushroom-
chemical, like.
Exactly.
I'm a big fan of mushrooms.
I've never,
Although-
never dabbled. I'm ready to. But
Mate, it's not. It's like medicinal. Like, have you know this stoned ape theory, right?
yeah, I do.
So this is this idea that we're apes.
Yeah.
Me and you's like sat in wherever the fucking bush, like scratching each other's bollocks, and then there's some mushrooms down here, and after a bit, our little gang of monkeys or gorillas or whatever we
They
are
came
at this
down from
time,
trees,
right,
to forage on the
We're
floor.
foraging
Yeah.
on the floor now, and we start mashing these mushrooms up. And at this point, we start making these sort of. The only comparable thing is when we had fire, and as bellies shrunk, because we could cook food, so the digestion thing diminished significantly, and as a consequence, our brains grew. Same with the mushrooms. We're taking these mushrooms. They reckon that's what kind of made the first leap in an evolution.
Yeah, because there is nobody can really explain why the human brain in the period of something like 1 million years did grow. There was like a timeline, then all of a sudden it shot up, and that is one of the theories that suggests that maybe monkeys came down, they foraged, maybe they ate some mushrooms, started to think about like, oh, that's when we entered the Stone Age, because their brains just switched into another frequency, is what I want to call it, because I think we're all on different frequencies, and I think drugs put you into different frequencies.
I agree.
Depending on the drug.
I was walking in the park the other day. Sorry to interrupt, and my lad is just started walking about 6 months ago. So let him walk across the park, and that takes me to the swings, and dotted all across our park in the morning because it's about 7 o'clock. Magic mushrooms everywhere, and I'm like, one day, mate, I will let you pick them up, and you can bag them up and take them home. But not every mushroom do you need to stop at and go, ooh, and I'm like. You're just like your mother.
Do you ever think when you have that conversation with your child when that's going to be?
I don't think I'd be that. I don't think I'd be that.
How do you navigate that ship? Because you don't want to say, because I had bad drilled into me, bad by my parents.
I don't think I'd be that. I think
and then
I'd
I
be
took
quite,
drugs and I was like, hang on,
Yeah.
not all bad, kind of.
Me and
yes,
Chris
no.
had that and just did them anyway. And we used to put them in pot noodles, right? Magic mushrooms. I've got a song called MD Amazing. Yeah,
Mate,
MD Amazing. Wow.
I know it well.
There's a
Which is
live-
my favourite drug. I do like it.
Great,
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
And
I
there's
agree.
a song there, and my mum lets my eldest lad watch this live, unbeknown to me until recently. Lets my son watch this live DVD of us.
Yeah.
Some fucking big kid concert somewhere. And I'm singing this song, MD Amazing, comes up on screen, MD Amazing, and I'm like, what do I say in it? My mum knows about the weed and my mum knows about the my mum knows about the pills and it's ease and coke make a mad, you know, or whatever I'm saying. And he's like, what does that mean? And I'm like, obviously I wrote this before I got kids, and when I were a nutter, right? And then I did all that shit. And
How do you navigate that?
So I want to, yeah.
in the moment as well, there's no what does that mean?
Yeah.
He's smart as fuck.
Yeah.
What does that mean? And I'm like, and I did some. I think I ended up doing some like mad shit, like knocking some over just to like kind of. Oh fucking hell! Oh look, we've
So
not.
you didn't want to lie, but you want to tell the truth. You was in that middle ground, like, how do I explain that to a child? Because
create
if you
like a
get
mental
told,
distraction.
if you get told as a kid, no, you as a kid, I was like, well, now I want to try it because
Yeah.
I want to know what it is.
I don't want to be that hippie dad that like gets munted with kids though, because I think that's just the something of it. My dad man is not an hippie, never were a hippie at all, opposite. But like my dad used to get me ganja after a bit because we do I smoked and he smoked, and although I got it and I smoked,
just to interject, how does that affect your ADHD?
ganja makes me anxious for the first like 10 minutes of having it, so I have it early, get it out of the way, and then I'm like, oh yeah, sound.
Well,
I'm
it's the
habitual
only
smoker,
thing.
right?
It's the only thing with weed out of all of them that calms my thoughts down. I just go.
I've smoked since I was 15, right?
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think. I've also took citalopram since I was about 15.
What the hell is that?
It's so ADHD presents or is masked by anxiety.
Yeah, it's
It can be a byproduct or whatever. And years ago, when that sort of big pharmaceutical thing took off, they were like, just have them. And I took them.
Is it stimulant?
It's a kind of antidepressant, really.
Yeah,
It's
I
supposed to
know
stop-
it is an
It's supposed to stop anxiety, and like it's kept me. And now I don't take it, but I still smoke a bit of ganja, but less so, like a lot less.
I have to have breaks.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think maybe it ain't the ganja I need, maybe it's the psilocybin, or maybe I don't need anything. That's the other thing.
Yeah, gonna go.
Why am I trying to talk myself through what's in my body?
When I
I've
go
just done 6 weeks sober for the first time in forever, for ages, and I'm actually kind of loving it because it's a big achievement. It feels like an achievement for me, and I'm just enjoying not drinking for a bit. I'm not going to say forever.
How are you feeling?
I feel good. I do feel good. I don't feel like that different, but I feel like possible. It feels possible now. Do you know what I mean? The first few weeks I was like, oh, I really want beer. And now I'm a bit more like, I don't really.
Especially in the UK where
really
it's weirder in the zeitgeist not to drink when you're out.
Yeah.
So which is bizarre to me because I'm like, hang on.
It's strange.
You when you're out with it, you out drinking tonight. You say no. They go, well, what the fuck? What's wrong with you?
We grew up in like such a boozy culture.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
did.
I had to
We
go
grew up
fetch-
in Sheffield. Sheffield's so boozy.
I used to go and fetch my dad, fish my dad out at pub for my mum. Your tea's ready. Been waiting in this little hut outside at pub where my dad would be near boozing like Friday nights, Saturday nights. All my uncles were potting, fucking like.
Yeah.
I had 4 pints of wards 4 days after my 13th birthday, Christmas. Yeah. No, 3 days after. I'm 22nd of December birthday.
And that stuff's legal.
I'm 13 drinking wards.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm fucking bollocks. And I'm having my Christmas dinner and I'm like my head's falling into fucking gravy and that. And I'm like thinking, this is how we've been brought up. And my mum and dad, they were brought up in the same culture. And our Chris, he's openly admit this, so I'm not talking out of class. He were an alcoholic, right? And he's 6 years now sober.
Good.
Oh,
lad.
he's a fucking miracle. He's a magnificent bastard.
Yeah.
He's fucking flying like.
Yeah.
And you can do it. And it's good for you.
It's just
Absolutely.
it's crazy to me that like I know this is a trope at this point, but how booze is legal and weed's not. Like there are, and then everybody drinks coffee in the morning as well. It's like they're all drugs. Whether you look at them.
Oh yeah.
So it's just wild to me that we still haven't got there with it.
Have you ever heard that song Irony of It All by The Streets?
Yeah, love it, man.
Oh, yeah.
And he's on about like, I'm a load body citizen, I drink lager and all this. And he's like, oh, in the eyes of the law, we are criminals. And he's like, oh, the pizza's here. It's got chicken on. Never mind. Let's pick it off.
Yeah. It's one of the nicest little balanced arguments, isn't it, between the two sides? And then the drunk guy's like, I'll batter you.
Yeah.
Which is always the end, isn't it? Because the drunk guy's always
I'm a bit like,
the aggressor.
I'm glad I did it all. I'm glad I did it all.
Yeah.
But I'm 43 and I've got 2 kids and I'm just a bit like, I just want to be calm and sober.
I'm glad I
yeah.
experimented later on because I was a late kind of blue. I was 21 when I tried drugs properly. MDMA was the first one I tried. And I'm glad I did when I was 21 and not 13. Do you know what I mean? A little bit more developed and down the road to be, I have a judgment on it of just to step back and go, do you know what? Even 21, I was a fucking idiot.
My first MGMA was completely by accident. I was watching Toddler T DJ. Some people that we were with said, do you want a bomb? Gave me a Jaeger bomb with MDMA in it.
Wowzer.
And,
Okay.
and so they did say, do you want a bomb? I'm assuming they thought I knew that it had MDMA in it.
Off you know, yeah.
Had no idea. Toddler T was Tramlines 2010 maybe. It's Toddler and Annie DJ in the Octagon. And Toddler T plays fucking Armand Van Helden, You Don't Even Know Me.
Banger.
And that string bit comes in.
Such a banger.
I'm punching the ceiling off the Octagon like that.
I've
never had a better feeling than that.
You'll never get that first high
I've
again.
never had a better feeling
You
than that.
say that I'm not living right.
To this day, mate, when that comes on, I'm like, oh my God.
So
The hair's
why
on the
are
back
you
of your neck.
Thank you,
judging my
Toddler,
life?
man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Banger.
Man. In it. MDMA's in, by
Yeah.
the way. Do you remember when you used to do Reverend sound system?
Yeah.
Mate, that was sick.
Plug, yeah. Used to do that. And
Well, so I went to one. I used to work in Gardeners Rest, Neeps End.
okay.
And my mate came in one night and he was like, oh, there's this sort of party thing that you were putting on. It was like a studio up in Kelham Island sort of way. It was like a white house.
Did you go to that?
Yeah.
Did you?
I was there.
Well, so
you were doing like
that's
dubsteppy
the
sort of stuff.
The snow rave, we call that.
Yeah.
Dubstep is my love
You-
when
it was-
that came
it
out
was
of nowhere.
there was like MCs and there was like a big sound system in there. There was like dubstep and sort of bassy sort of stuff. And I feel like you maybe performed MDMAs in around
So
that
there's,
time. Maybe.
I did perform that, and
Was it bassline as well?
There's a tune that I had, and it's like me singing like rock vocals, like fucking Ozzy Osbourne or something,
Yeah.
over this dubstep tune. And I've got on the record, it's got Kano.
What record is this,
Mate, fucking
It's on
sick, man.
on the A side of the record. It's got my mate Marcus, Matic Mouth, Sheffield boy,
Yeah.
who I
Shout out
grew up
Marcus.
with. And then there's like a mixtape, and it's on the mixtape. There's like Roots Maneuvers on there, Kano's on there,
Do you
Richard
know what?
Hawley's on there.
Mate, dude, you did Mongrel as well.
See,
You worked with loads of rappers,
See,
man.
I've worked with loads of that over the years, but you see, like that Depth Charge tune, I feel like
Yeah.
it's like a whole fucking genre of music that like never were a thing,
Yeah.
and it's like somewhere between. I don't really like heavy metal. I've never really delved into metal, but it's
Yeah.
somewhere between like heavy rock, Sabbath metal.
Yeah.
What song is this?
Call it Depth Charge.
It's a tune called Depth Charge.
I'll write that down. I'll
But-
ask you after.
But it's, when I've done it, I'm like, this is like it's the nearest I've ever got to like some other genre that's
Yeah.
don't exist, right?
You were really. It was very experimental, that party, and one of my favorite bits about it was like, I think it was free entry, right? Anyone could turn up, and like I think there was bits. So me and my mate were sat down on a sofa, and I think you'd come in and you were sort of like walking around just asking everyone how they were, and I was like, that's dead sound, isn't it? Because it's your big do, and like everyone was sort of there or whatever. And this one lad, I think it was like kind of like a bit of a sort of sharp lad or whatever. He was like, "Fuck you asking for?" He's like, "Oh," and you just went, "It's just my party, mate. I'm just asking you how you are." And he went, Oh, sorry, mate. Yeah, didn't realize who you were.
Yeah.
But also, he was about this big, and I'm not saying you're quite a tall bloke.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick a fight on you. Were twice his size.
Yeah,
But it
but
was,
I kind of like.
It was sound, mate.
I have had a few scraps over the years, but like I think like that's what I'm saying about people getting me wrong. Like
Yeah.
I'm people because when you're a big lad and you're a bit fucking alright, mate. People take that as like being Aggie or Alpha, and I'm like, so in my head I'm like a little timid fucking mouse, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not what you would think I am, and
Yeah.
it's dead hard to. Honestly, I'm not like a big. You know what I mean? It's hard to get it across to people, isn't it?
Yeah. But do you put like I guess do you put that across into your music? Of course, you're a sensitive soul. You're a musician. You're well, in one of the
He's a
interviews I watched,
creative guy.
you said you were inspired by like beat poetry and stuff. You were saying this is a long time ago. This is an old interview, so hope you don't mind me paraphrasing. You might think it's not correct now, but you were saying that in the times when all people were being bands, you were being a little bit different. You were more about poetry, and
I think
you weren't doing the music side of things.
Yeah, I think going back to that initial thing when we first started, us and Monkeys and stuff, like we had synths.
Yeah.
None of them had synths, they had guitars. So we had synths and guitars, and
Yeah.
we were trying to be like maybe subconsciously trying to be a synthesis of like them old Sheffield bands, Cabaret Voltaire, Human League,
Yeah.
Evan 17, and then maybe Pulp, like a
Yeah.
mixture of that. Number one. And then number two is like I didn't really do music at first. I did like performance poetry. And I would
Nice.
be into things now like John Cooper Clarke and
Yeah, mate.
Linton Kwesi Johnson and these kind of things. And obviously, subsequently, I've done a work with John and
That's
done a
amazing.
bunch of shit with
man.
him. But like, yeah, I used to be really into this guy called Miguel Puinero with this like sort of New York beat poetry and all that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
like into like a lot of that stuff, you know, and I really kind of, and I were at uni at times, so there were a bit of kind of the political thing going down.
Yeah.
And I love all that. I still love that kind of
Yeah.
vibe. I like words. I like the interrogation of words. I think from Sheffield with Alex, who's an amazing wordsmith, and Jarvis, and to an underappreciated degree, Richard Hawley. Like the word is important in Sheffield, right?
Yeah.
Unusually so. More so than perhaps it is in Mancunian music or Liverpool music.
Yeah.
If you were to characterise Sheffield music, the word and the lyric is as a almost like a French over a. We're obsessed with the lyrics.
Yeah.
More in Sheffield, I think.
One thing I always loved about
You're always into lyrics.
I'm a big,
You're the lyric guy.
I'm a
I was
big,
more the music. Like I listen to it all. I can't remember lyrics for shit. I can't. when we're in that, you know, was in a parody rap group, you had to write my lyrics. I couldn't remember lyrics. I would love to be an actor, but I just don't think I memorise lines.
Words. I've always been obsessed with words.
I think one of the things that I always took, well, I guess sort of inspiration from, I suppose it would have been you and Alex, but I feel like around that time as well in the early 2000s, we had bands and stuff, and there was stuff started to happen, but when things got really interesting, I think, was when the Sheffield thing kicked off, because all the lyrics were they were punchlines, man. There was always a nice little bow on the end of it.
Alex were always, and the reason I loved him and gravitated towards him, reason we ended up living in an house together and being in bands and making music together, were he would learn a word or learn a little turn of phrase, and the next minute you would hear it in a song. And I were working at the Boardwalk at the time.
Yeah.
And he said, any jobs going, John? Get us a job. So I knew Dom, landlord. I says, get us, my mate Alex, can you get him a job? Get him a job. And I remember him on bar, and he went to me, John, what's totalitarian mean?
Dope.
So I explained it to him. People they used to say these really sort of terrible things about Alex, like, he's too young to write songs. It must be John who writes them. It wasn't me who I have wrote a song with him, but not like I'm credited. It's not like he's pretended I am. What they miss about him is how fucking smart he is and was. And even then, right? And he would go, what's totalitarian mean? And then next minute, he's got a song, This Way or No Way, totalitarian.
Yeah.
And I'm like, motherfucker, like, you were just fucking...
Yeah.
He would get it and apply it straight away in a fucking brilliant way. And
I want to ask you about saying, well, we're on that kind of vein. There's no pockets in shrouds.
Yeah.
I watched an interview with you when doing research, and it's something that your mum used to say or something.
Yeah, no pockets in shrouds.
I was like, I need to ask him what that means.
So no pockets in shrouds is almost like the biblical thing of the eye of the fucking needle, like you can't take it with you. So in other words, spend all your money, climb every mountain, ride every fucking bike, do everything you fucking can, save your money for a rainy day for what?
I've never heard. Did you know that?
I didn't know. I've never heard that.
Shroud
I've never heard that
is
saying.
like you're fucking in the shroud when you're dead, right? You put a shroud over.
Yeah.
No pockets in
you
it.
can't take it with you.
Can't take
Can't
it
take
with you,
it
mate.
with you. That's great.
My mum's. I had my family tree done by a mad fan recently. Who she's not mad. She's a genealogist who happens to be a fan.
Yeah.
She did me and Laura's family tree. Irish on three sides, and there's like a gypsy thing on my mum's side, right? And my mum, they're full of these little fucking, full of these little things, and I'm starting to try to trace where the fuck that comes from, because it's deeply rooted in our culture, right? And she's in a Milburn song and all, my mum. She's got to go out and get ball a kick.
Yeah.
Which is another kind of thing of...
Yeah, I heard you say that one
live
as well.
the life, do the thing, like, you know what I mean?
Nice,
so there's loads of them. There's
Give
loads
the
of them.
ball a kick, I like that.
One of my favourite ones about Sheffield is our cat pissed up your entry. Right, so that, you know, they have them sort of, they have got them on our street, you know, they have them sort of archway tunnels between terraced houses.
Yeah.
And our cat pissed up your entry would mean to say, like, me and you were related somehow, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Me and you were...
My cat pissed up your...
Our cat pissed up your entry.
Yeah.
And then another one I love is about Sheffield generally is you kick one man and everybody limps. It's just to say, like, if I upset you,
That's great. That.
everybody's going to fucking know about it in Sheffield.
Yeah.
All creative people and whatever. Oh, what fucking John did to Jimmy. And the next thing, you're a leper, because it's like he's been mean to Jimmy.
Especially in Sheffield, largest village, in it, and all that.
I love these old sayings are great, and they inform very directly the lyrics. You know, like there's an Arctic Monkey song. It's called "Settle for a Draw."
Yeah, one of the early demos on Boardwalk.
It's like a B-side or something, right? And I believe it to be about me and my first girlfriend arguing back at Boardwalk. We were always rowing, right? And he's got a thing where he says, just like Frankie used to say. Now, Frankie's his granddad, right? And his granddad used to say that when he were rowing with his girlfriend at the time, he'd say, settle for a draw, right? And he's just made a fucking song with it. And it, people don't... Jarvis Cocker's songs are full of this, right? He's this... Not folklore. I don't want to say it's Sheffield folklore. That's the wrong word. But Sheffield conventional folk wisdom, where things you catch a little saying on breeze and you think, I'll have a bit of that.
Yeah.
All is great with it, right? He's got a song and me and here in the City of Knives or something. It's just a little turn of phrase that you hear someone saying that's like...
What, like long story long?
Long story long. It's just that though.
I don't know where that came from. I don't know if I'll take credit for that or whether.
But that's how Hard Day's Night came about, right? They're just talking, and Ringo's like, "Fucking hell, it's been an hard day's night."
There you go, Ringo.
Bosh.
Yeah.
Hard Day's Night.
Long
Mate, I
story
was-
long though. I'm having that.
I take it, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sent you a voice note the other day because you are celebrating 20 years. We need to talk about that as well. But I was saying, Beatles 10 years, Reverend and the Makers 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sort of prevarication in between these days. I
Yeah.
suppose they just had to get on with it then.
I suppose also the Beatles have gone and done solo careers, but I mean, like 20 years, man. Like, did you think when you started out, this is what I'm always? Did you know that this is what you wanted to do, or was it like, I like words, I like writing, I like singing? Because you've done a bunch of things as well from here. You've said you've written novels, you're involved in tramlines starting up, you've got Day Fever on the go now, you've got.
I just
involved in projects.
I just go where me, and I'm starting to go with this more and more as I get older. Just go to it. If you feel it, right, just don't quite try and qualify it too much. If it's an energy that makes you buzz creatively, just go to it.
Yeah.
And like, I think sometimes people from Sheffield and working class people, and they struggle to conceptualize themselves as creative entities. So I've got a mate called Winnie who you have met.
Yeah.
Day Fever. He dances at Day Fever on stage, and he's an actor in Steve Bracknell. And when you meet him, he's like, "Oh, what do you do, Winnie?" He's like, "Oh, well, I work on railways a bit," and he's like trying to apologise for himself. And I'm like, next time somebody asks you what you do, tell them you're a nightclub dancer and an actor, because you are.
Yeah.
And he were like,
Do you know what?
"Oh yeah."
One of my best friends in the entire world, Softy, shout out. I'm a video editor, and I do that now for a living. I have done for 3-4 years, and love it. It's creative.
Mint.
It's great.
Mint.
Love it. I worked in an office, operated it for like 9 years. Wasn't really feeling it. Now I'm out. Anyway, he said I was having this dilemma where I'm like, I don't really know if I'm good enough. You have imposter syndrome,
man. Yeah,
right?
of
And I
course.
sit there. And I never forget what he said. He said, because you are what you say you are. If you are a video editor, you're a video editor. Because I wasn't a photographer, so I had the same thing because where he took pictures of bands and stuff. And when somebody went up to him and said, "What do you do?" he always found himself apologising. Well, I'll do this, that, and the other. And one day it's like, "Fuck, I'm a photographer." When you say you are, you almost become it.
Yeah.
And I've never, I've always, obviously we still have imposter syndrome or whatever, but I am more trying to really.
I think like people down south, maybe more upper class people, the Americans.
The Americans are really
They're
good. for
fucking
that.
great.
so good at
back,
that.
and
The
over
confidence.
again, I think back yourself.
Yeah.
Back yourself. The very Sheffield thing that, oh yeah, just do
I think
bit,
it's a UK thing.
do a bit of music and like.
When you started out doing music, did you feel confident in what you were doing? Do you think when you were younger, did you feel more confident, or do you
Always
feel
had
better now?
a weird confidence thing. Like I'm racked with self doubt,
Yeah.
but then bop, come on then.
Yeah.
Like I was feeling really nervous about coming to talk to you. Feeling really, what the fuck? Will I be all right? The moment we've started talking, I'm like,
I'm
bosh.
exactly that way. When we've done live shows and stuff, I'm quiet, a bit nervous. But when it's on, it's like,
Yeah.
Dr. Stage, right?
yeah. I don't know what it is, and I love it. I love
It's
performing.
adrenaline. It's dopamine, adrenaline.
Yeah.
Dude,
And when I'm there,
There's
and
no
it,
better feeling, is there? Than
it goes in
standing
an
on stage?
instant. Like an hour feels like 10 minutes, and you're like, you wake up almost as, what did I just do?
The crash after that's horrendous.
The crash.
After Day Fever, man, like I DJ for 2 hours for Day Fever. It's high energy, it's intense. Absolutely love it because everyone's having such a great time. But I come off stage and I'm like shaking, and my missus, like, sometimes I go home and she's like, "You all right?" I'm like, "I've just had like the greatest gig." She's like, "Can you tell your body because you just like shaking?" Like I'm like, honestly, like
That's why
couldn't believe
musicians and comedians and DJs and actors and stuff,
Yeah.
why they always took drugs, because
Yeah.
it's like, how can I stay up here?
Yeah, that's
How
it.
can I avoid
yeah.
the inevitable dopamine crash?
Yeah.
I know I'll do. I get munted, I get pissed, I get
Yeah.
stoned, I get high, whatever, like, right?
We've spoken about this as well. We find like because sometimes you get the biggest gig of your life, and then the next week you're like, I don't know if I'm going to have a gig again. Like maybe less so, I guess, when you get to the point where you've got like a bit of a career and a catalogue and stuff behind you. But even then, like you've played Wembley, mate. You've
Mate,
played.
I worry about it ending every single day of my life. Like,
Yeah.
I'll have this awful, like, what will I fucking do? Who the fuck am I?
Ever since taking my own job, like video editing, how am I going to pay my bills next month? I'd
Yeah.
rather have that, though, than every day be the same.
Yeah.
You walk into an office. God bless anybody who does it, whatever. We need those people for the world to turn, but
Yeah.
not for me.
Part
I
of me
can't.
thinks it's some a very, like, going back to the Paleolithic emotion thing. I think a bit of that's good for you. It's like,
Yeah.
will I catch a mammoth today? Am I going to
Yes.
find any? will I spear a mammoth?
Yeah.
Or will I have to settle with a few fucking berries?
So true.
Yeah.
It's kind of good for you, right? Like on some
You need it.
bit of the grind's good, right?
To the point where now I think we have way less and less and less to worry about. You know what I mean? There are obviously things going on in the world, but Western civilization, I think we make problems.
Yeah, we got a bit cozy, right?
We got too cozy.
Got a bit
We got a bit
lazy.
too comfortable. So we make a lot of problems. I think this is why you're seeing a lot of what you're seeing now, where we worry about a lot of things. That you know,
I feel we've sort of lost our purpose in some way.
100%.
And I feel like creativity is a great thing for that. Like I've been lucky enough to make this new video I've done, which is the thing I'm the most proud of in the fucking world, right? I have to tell you this. But I've been lucky enough to work with it with a guy called Jonathan Buttrell, who wrote, directed the musical and film of Everybody's Talking About Jamie.
Can we also just jump in quickly? Did you star in that? Were you an extra in that? So you shared something with
No, I mean, I'm in it in drag and as an extra at the end scene,
Stunning.
right? Me, Jim O'Hara, Chris, who looked really fit as a woman. He's my brother, and he was called Diane Saucy, right? I was called Gloria
Was that
Hall.
confusing for you?
Mate, he looked fit. Like, I'm like, what's going on? I can't. No, you're my brother. Like, and you're a woman. Like, what's going on? But like, you look hot, which is massively weird. But
you got it going on.
we got Jonathan involved. I forgot why I'm telling you this now.
Sorry. Yeah.
And Jonathan were talking to me about himself when he was younger, as a kind of someone who were into dance and theatre and musicals and a gay guy. And he was saying, like, creativity was the fucking thing. It was, and it's the thing for me. Like, I don't want to say it saved me. That would be an over exaggeration, but it certainly like gave me purpose. And this is the fucking like a light I'm moving towards. Not just music, poetry. I want to write a film. I want to write a novel. I want to fucking dance in a video. I want to do a daytime disco called Day Fever.
Yes, mate.
Whatever it is, right? Like, I'm just moving towards it. And I'm trying to think, I said this without sounding like I'm slagging my mum off. I'm not. There's a thing in Sheffield culture, particularly in the north of the city. It's less prevalent where I live, but it's particularly in the north of the city where a lot of the creative people come from. My mum went to me, you'll never make out of this music. Get a proper job. So there's a Sheffield thing.
It's
not
a
like a proper
generational
job.
thing. My parents, they did support me. I'm not slagging them off. But my dad was always like, you should really start looking for a job now, and like you should try brickying or a trade, because that's literally their generation. That's their generation. They didn't. They only raised us like what they, they did their best. But I was always a creative kid, and I was like,
the boomers, right? So that's why they were brought up.
Yes, that's how they were brought up.
You got kids?
No.
You've literally written songs about this, man.
So like, my thing now with my kids is like, especially my young one, but both of them. Like, you can be anything. Not you can be anything you want to be. That sounds terrible because it like gives them a false sense of. But in a creative expression sense, paint that picture, play that guitar, make that noise, go to that gig. Just my little one is fucking wild.
Yeah,
he wears a bandana to school every day. He wanted to go with Elton John. He had to go as a hero on Friday. Today, he has to go to school as a hero. He's like, I'm going as Elton John.
Amazing.
He writes songs. He's wrote this song called Tombola.
Did you put that on your Instagram a while ago?
I might have talked about it, possibly.
Yeah.
And my thing with him is just, I did.
Yeah,
He was in
you were
Turtle
saying
Mask.
about like give us some like show him some love and that.
Just let him be free, man. You know, like I've got 50 cousins. I was the first one to go to uni.
Yeah,
right. Like you have to fucking nurture that shit, because I think for every John Lennon or Jimi Hendrix or Pablo Picasso or whatever the fuck it is, right, or fucking Aretha Franklin or something, there's probably 10, 15 more that like
just got squashed.
Get to work, get a job. You can't do that, you silly bat. Do you ever watch that thing about where they'd done the Beatles if they'd not been famous? And like Lennon's on a bus and he's like old and disgruntled.
Wow.
I see them people.
Yeah.
You do.
I see them walking down fucking road and I'm like, I know you're a genius because I remember you 20 years ago in bands.
I from people from school, I know now I can pick out people in my head where they're geniuses, but they just took different paths.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's such a fucking shame. Some of the best musicians you might never know.
Sometimes it's just as simple as like turn up. I turned up that night and I met such and such.
Yeah.
Say yes.
Say yes.
Say yes.
And as a parent, as a daddy, right? How old's your little
He's 18 months now.
Say yeah, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Not within reason.
No, I get
With it,
yeah.
yeah.
Within
I
reason,
get it,
say
mate.
fucking yes.
Daddy, can I do
absolutely.
MDMA?
Daddy,
Yes.
Daddy, can I pick these magic mushrooms up off the park? Yeah, in 15 years or so, when you can come over and tell me what's wrong with you. But yeah,
But
honestly,
when they're trying to express themselves, trying to express the joy and their individual.
mate, 100%.
My little one went to me. He went, Daddy. He went, they're all going as footballers because I don't want to go as a footballer. I want to go as Elton John.
Good.
All right, he's changed it now. By the way, he's going as Eminem. But like
Another hero.
whatever,
Yeah.
just do your thing. Like whatever you want to do, however you want to express your joy,
Yeah.
go for it, kiddo.
But I love that, man. And also, you. I was going to say before when your mum said, "Oh, go and get a job and all that." Some of your lyrics are literally like about that sort of thing, aren't they? Like
Get born,
Yeah.
get school, get job.
get car,
Whatever I fucking
pay
say,
tax
right.
and find a wife and that. And don't forget you can get off the conveyor.
There's an
and-
artist, Corbin Shaw, is he called?
Yeah.
And he's got this thing that's like an England flag, and it says something like very similar to them lyrics now. He's done this like 4 or 5 years ago. Get car, get job, all that. And I think
Yeah.
there is a kind of thing where I don't know where that comes from. I think it comes from a very old post-war, maybe even before that Victorian thing of like
Yeah.
you have to do these things in a certain order, and you're on this little fucking treadmill, and if you're not here by 30, you've failed, or if you're not here by 40, and I'm like, come on, man, we must have evolved beyond that, where it's like just if you want to be creative and you feel this I feel like it's like a light.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Move towards it, like.
I've ever since I took my job and doing what I do now, like I just feel like I know myself more weirdly, and I was somebody I wasn't sat in that office. I'm a different person than I was 4 years ago.
It's
completely.
also beautiful to see as your friend, because I could see, you know, that you were saying you can see somebody's potential, you can see their, like, this is what you should be doing, and now he's doing it, and it's great to see, like, that
that's
freedom.
fucking great, man.
Yeah, that
I don't want to
freedom.
stop there either. I want to do like we
Yeah.
think about
Yeah.
music projects again, don't
Yeah,
we? We
we
think about
blossom.
this, literally
Blossom,
this.
like let your joy out, like.
This is a space for us to get together once a week and just chat and just be funny and be silly and come up with sketch ideas, and then we were like, let's get some interesting people in, let's chat to them. We've got these great guests in now. We get to talk to you about music, and we get to talk to you about philosophy and life and politics.
I think podcasts
It's great,
podcasts are literally changing the world. You saw that with the US election. It had
it's
the
insane.
massive sway on
Yeah.
it.
People are. I'm still very committed to the written word, right? But my wife,
I still
from
like
the
that.
day she wakes up,
My wife
from the
is the
moment
same.
she wakes up to the moment she goes to sleep, she's podcast. She's
Yeah.
listening all the time, right? And she's absorbing it and feeling sort of. It's took the place of maybe not of radio, because there are still good radio shows, but
Yeah.
I just think you're able to communicate with people in a very very exciting, great way now.
Yeah.
When you, I think you want to call it legacy media if you want, but when you've got like a 2-minute segment where you're trying to get to know someone you really like, maybe you admire, like let's say Matthew McConaughey or something, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very different from
Matthew
a
McConaughey.
3-hour conversation with him.
Yeah.
You can figure out most of the time with most people who they are in 3 hours. There'll be something that will be a telltale sign of like, okay. Well, I think that's what podcasts are, and that's why I love them. It's just a conversation. It's just a flow. It's not like you don't get this like, now we're cutting to the break and everything's rushed and forced.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You got to get the pitching,
Yeah.
got to set the sales pitching.
Exactly,
right?
yeah. And that's what it literally changed my life when Joe Rogan started coming about,
Love
and I
that.
started to. He just have everybody on, every different.
Everyone
view.
keeps telling me I need to listen to Blind Boy. Apparently, he's
Oh
doing
I haven't
yeah,
seen
yeah.
it,
I
I don't
like
know.
it. I love those guys. I love his like music stuff. It's class. I've listened to a couple of episodes of his podcast, but not as many as I
I don't
should.
really. Everyone tells me I should podcast. I don't know if I've got the sort of.
Well, dude, so you mentioned
doing
this
great,
about
yeah.
the letter to your 21-year-old self, which is one of your songs. Previous album,
Last album.
last album, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
the latest album, because I've not released the one coming up. But yeah,
Sorry, yeah. There is an album coming though.
yep. There's an album on the way. It's
Amazing.
called "Is This How Happiness Feels?" It's going to be called.
How's writing been going at the minute? Because I've said to Dave before this, and I've said to you, you seem to be in a rich vein of form with the track with the lottery winners, and
I'm on the
The
richest
latest.
vein of form I've ever been on. Right. So the batch of songs I've got for this album
yeah,
is so fucking good that I'm like, oh my god, I'm onto some magical shit here.
yeah,
The problem I've got is that my dad were dying and subsequently died during the recording of it. And therefore, I went to go to Brussels to record it, IPC Studios, and I couldn't go there because my dad's dying. So I'm like,
Yeah.
we've got to do it in Sheffield. And I'm going between Huntsman Ward, Northern General, and the recording studio. And the producer, Dimitri Tikovoy, bless him, who is a lovely man and very capable and delivered me a real success on that last album.
Yeah.
Fluent charts, all over radio, blah, blah, blah. He's going, what do you think to drum sound, John? What do you think to kick drum sound? And in my head's like thinking about my dad withering away and fucking...
Yeah.
And I'm just not concentrating. And as a result,
Yeah.
I've kind of fucked it up. Now, out of them sessions came this Christmas one, which I am happy with and I am going to release because I fucking love it.
We're going to play a bit of that on
Should we
here.
have it on?
right?
Should we have it
Yeah,
on?
let's
Let's
have a little bit of a listen, mate.
So,
yeah.
I've had a shit
'Cause it's
year,
out
right, and I
now.
wanted to do some joyful shit.
Yes,
So
man.
I've done this, and I have to tell you before I play it that it's my favourite song I've ever written.
Put your headphones on as well if you want to listen
Alright.
to it.
I'm
as well.
excited, man.
I don't know why I rung you, I'm drunken sometimes. I just think to hell with it, bell you and tell you what I've got in mind. But I know what you'll say, have you seen the time? I know you're thinking it could wait till morning, but I got really messed up now. I'm trying to be coherent, telling you why it is that I cross my heart and I hope to die. There's no one here at this party could ever do, so now I'm coming back home to you. Oh, believe me, love, I'm so drunk, but I love you. Monday and Friday and Sunday through, today and tomorrow and yesterday too, and I don't care who knows. Oh yeah, I don't wanna mess around, never gonna let you down. I just wanna tell you I love you, love you, love you. I'm sorry that I woke you up, sorry that it's so late, but please can I make things up to you, to you, to you. I forgot my keys, so I bang on your door. I hope you're inside and you met some of your apple crumble, sweet apple crumble. I wanna lay with you, I wanna lay with you tonight. Oh, when I'm here with you, I wanna watch the room spin with you. Oh, and now I wanna slow dance, oh babe, I wanna slow dance. Don't be mad, don't be mad. I wanna feel, I wanna feel, I wanna love, I wanna love you Thank you very much.
Dude, it's soulful.
Genuinely, mate, what the fuck?
Oh,
that's
it's-
insane.
It's the
most
1, 2, 3s for me,
flamboyant
man.
thing I've ever done, right? And
Does it feel good?
yeah, but I just fucking love the video. Like when me and my mate Danny were writing it, like he's got all fucking music going, like
Yeah.
he's got this wicked melody going, and like I'm doing fucking words, and as I'm writing lyrics, he's like this is a video, right? And we're picturing this video as I'm fucking telling him lyrics, and he's like, I can see it, like John, it's there, like I can see it. I'm like, me too. So I tells my manager I'm playing him songs, and my manager like has managed me now for 18 years. I used to have the same manager as Arctic Monkeys, and after the first album went with Dave, and I've been with David for 18 years now. Gone to London, I'm playing him tunes, and I'm describing this video, and he's like, "You've just got to make this. You've just got to fucking make it."
Yeah.
And we made like £1 million video on a shoestring by people like Jonathan Buttrell, Shiv, who's lead choreographer on fucking Hamilton, right?
Wow.
We roped in.
I love Hamilton.
Wow.
We roped in all these mad favours.
Is it just networking? These are just
No,
people that you've
tell you
met
what it
over
is.
the years, or
They heard the song and they saw it. I storyboarded it all out myself. Hyperfocus, stayed up all night, storyboarding and all that. And I sent him the storyboard and the song, and Jonathan were just like, look, he went, I'm really busy. He didn't say we couldn't afford him, but we couldn't afford him. I'm really busy. You can't afford me.
Yeah.
But I fucking love it. Because I just need to help you do this. Because I'm in love with it. I love it. I love it. So we got all these mental people involved. First bit's in Fagan's, I'm in pub, whatever. Next bit I'm walking home and I'm walking up Blake Street where they don't full Monty, right?
Yeah.
And then we cordoned off my cousin's road in Hillsborough. Council have cordoned it off, full film set.
Beautiful,
Dances, like a Busby Berkby, old musical, in the round circle thing. Gospel singers, Elvis, Father Christmas, Mrs. Claus, fucking fake snow.
Unbelievable, man.
Mate, like,
Hopefully it's not the snow they used for the Wizard of Oz.
no, none of that. Like, we don't want to fucking where there's blame as a claim. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mate, it sounds great.
That's wild. Yeah.
sounds-
And
That's,
it's most importantly that I should tell you is that it's in conjunction with the Samaritans, proudly supporting the Samaritans. Now, people being on their own at Christmas is one of the things along with homelessness that just fucks with me. I can't have it.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of people in my life commit suicide, very close to me, family members, several family members and friends and one thing and another. And at Christmas, for about 10 years, I've done this thing where I take an hour out of my day and I Zoom a bunch of people who are suffering,
Yeah.
who are on their own or they're struggling. I play them a song and they're on the other end at Zoom and I'm like, look, you're not on your own, I'm here, blah, blah, blah. Just wanted to send you some love, some Christmas cheer. And I thought, why don't I go one step further this year? Longest night's the 21st of December. This is when suicide rates spike.
Yeah.
Run up to Christmas. It's a tough time. So my thing, I'm a lucky boy. I've got a wicked missus, 2 lovely kids, my mum, all that. Not everybody's that lucky. So I thought, how can I do a thing that just says to people, if you're struggling, you're on your own, get Samaritan's ring, even Christmas Day, there's somebody sat there,
Yeah.
they're waiting to chat to you. We've got you, like. So this is why we're doing it.
Weirdly,
Yeah,
last
it's lovely, man.
Christmas, when I was at home, I had this overwhelming urge, I don't know, just to do something like just go out. Because I don't know, I just was like, not that I don't love Christmas with my family or anything like that, but it was weird you say that because last year I was like, I just want to do something next year. And I said this to my missus because she's, again, like yourself, she's wonderful. She gets me. She understands me. She's like, you should next year maybe help with the art. I don't even know where to
You
start.
can go to the soup kitchen. So my mum and dad and
Exactly,
my brother,
something like that.
they used to go down at soup kitchen and they're just dishing a bit of food out. For
Something like
homeless.
that I would do. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, there's the St Wilfrid's do things like that. There's a bunch of people roundabout. They do a shelter. There's a bunch of these people. If you get in touch with them, they can help you. Like help you to help people, right? Because I think you got to think taking Christmas out of it. Christmas is an old pagan fucking winter solstice. It's been going on a long time now. Right, that's one little bright spot in a very gloomy period. And obviously Christmas, it conjures up weird nostalgic memories and things for people and makes people feel a certain way, right?
Yeah.
And to some people that can be a very negative experience, very lonely, sad, confusing time, right? So it's just saying to them, Nanim, we've got you. Ring Samaritans, go down at shelter, whatever you need to do. There's people out there who can fucking look after you, like.
So how can people support the single? Just buy it, stream it,
they can
pre-save
pre-save it. We're obviously going to make a financial contribution to Samaritans,
Beautiful.
which is important. But also, it's more of an awareness thing, really. Is if you were struggling, if you know someone else who's struggling, get them that number. Samaritans are like OGs of fucking helping people, right? They've been doing it a long time. And
legends in the
is
game.
there a vaguely fucking Christian thing to that? I don't know. I don't know about the morality of it or the spirit. I don't know any of that shit. Right? Here's what I know.
If they're helping people.
There's a phone number. If you're struggling, ring them up. And somebody's going to, no judgment, they're going to listen to you.
Yeah.
I think that they save lives, right?
Definitely,
Big thing.
mate.
It's a big thing. Because people who's died in my life, I think, oh, fucking hell, if only they'd have rang me or they'd have rang such and such or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
We've all been touched by them things. So that's the vibe. Not in an heavy way. I don't mean it in an heavy way.
No, not at all, man.
It's still a banger.
Thanks for
Still a
sharing.
Christmas.
It's a great
It definitely
tune,
feels good vibes.
It feels like the music you're putting out at the minute is a lot of fun. It feels like you've got a real broad array throughout your career. First album, very playful, very dancey, very high tempo, lots of like dancing. Second album, very experimental, like broader sound. Opens up with the. Do you know what I love as well? When I watch your live shows, I keep seeing clips on your Instagram of like some mad festivals you've done over the summer.
Yeah.
When everyone's doing the.
Oh, I mean, listen.
Is it from Lowrider?
Yeah, so I went to see War.
Yeah.
To clear the sample, right?
Yeah.
And I wrote this song. I had this story of that is there used to be a place called Club 60.
Yeah.
It's a speakeasy. We used to knock on door. It's gone now, so I can tell you where it were. We're under Ship Inn pub, and we used to just knock on door. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, we'd be there till 5, 6 o'clock. You could jam, make music, do poetry, get off your nut. And I took a pill, right? And somebody's playing some records down there. Last 2 records they played were Tomorrow Never Knows and Lowrider. So I've took this pill and I'm off my nut. And I'm walking home to my mum's. It's about 14 miles to Grenna.
Yeah.
And I'm off my nut and I'm fucking... For whatever reason, like, these 2 tunes have become one song. Right on your mind. Relax and float downstream. They've kind of morphed into one song in my addled mind, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna fucking make that song. So I make the tune.
Sick, man.
Just do some druggy mental. No, the lyrics are even the lyrics. I tell you what the lyrics are about is nobody saying. I went out with an Iraqi girl for 6 years. Yeah. And nobody's saying fuck all about how terrible this war is.
Yeah.
I laid there with her one night watching family getting bombed inside a city, right? So I've done my little political druggy lyrics about whatever, and I've got this song that's merged into one. Manager at times, Arctic Monkeys manager is saying that we need to clear the sample.
Yeah.
So we go to Albert Hall. I've got to meet War, whose tune it is, right?
Yeah.
I go in, meet them all. Great to meet you guys. They're fucking wonderful. Really, really cool. Obviously the sample. Yeah, man. Yeah, we love the tune. We've heard the tune. We love what you've done with it. We like the kind of psychedelic vibe. Awesome. So I'm thinking they're going to cut us a deal. They want like a little 20% for the sample or something. Lawyer comes back. He's like, yeah, lads love the tune. They want 100% of this publishing.
Oh, man.
So I'm like, you know what? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Let them have it.
Put it. Yeah.
Just stick the tune out. And
It's
Fair play to you, yeah.
that tune's a banger, right?
It's the Verve as well. What's the Verve tune?
It's Andrew-
Bittersweet
And
Symphony.
it's Andrew Lou Goldham and the Stones.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's it. They get nothing. It's like his biggest song, but then I love the lyric in it. What is it? You pray for money, then you die, or whatever it is. Yeah.
This year we spotted Louis Tomlinson in fucking Mexico on tour, right? And I had fucking thousands of Mexicans jumping up and down singing that, right? And I think, don't matter what, if I'd have changed it, it would have been something else, and it wouldn't have been as good, and that would have never happened. And even to this day, 40 odd years old, I've got fucking kids in Mexico fucking going nuts to it. It's fine.
How does that translate? How does that like translate to your brain? Is it one of those things you've just got used to now? When you like, I did a gig in Mexico and people know my tunes and they jump around and go mad to them.
I don't know how else to say this,
specialty.
like, but I'm like fucking famous in Mexico, like I'm going back on tour. I'm like a fucking
of all places,
I'm
like
big in
Mexico.
I'm big in Mexico. Like, it's a fucking thing. Like,
Do the cartel know
Yes,
who
man.
you are?
mate, I went to these. They have these things called cenotes. Yeah, so they're like these fucking holes in the ground. The Mayans would revere them as religious sites.
Yeah.
And they're these 100-foot holes. The rainforest grows into them, and you can swim in them. They got like little black fish that swim in them. So we go into this cenote. Yeah, we're in fucking jungle in middle of nowhere. Got these Mexican girls like, can I have a photo? And I'm like to Laura, I don't have to fucking tell you this, but I'm big in Mexico. I am a fucking big noise in Mexico, like
Yes, man.
El Chapo. Like, I'm the guy, like, and she's
That's
like,
sick.
fuck off. I'm like, Laura, look. And we took kids with us, right? And kids are looking at me like, my fucking dad big in Mexico. What's happening here? Mate, I love it. I'm going back on tour, like, I'm going to do a tour over there.
That's awesome.
Why the fuck
man.
not, eh?
No, absolutely.
Where's the maddest place you've played? I mean, you've played all over the world.
I played a gig in the Shrine in Nigeria, in Lagos,
Wow.
with Damon Albarn and Flea and Femi Kuti, son of the late great Fela Kuti. I played there, which was pretty fucking mad because that's
real
literally
special.
where Afrobeat started, right?
Yeah.
Played there. I've played in lots of places, but I reckon like playing people's houses, don't have, and loads of mental shit.
But that's it. So you go from, you do Wembley Stadium and then you do gig in someone's living room. Yeah. Love that though, man.
There's a thing of the communication of the fucking communicating some soulful shit, a bit of me to you.
Yeah.
There's a thing of like, this comes from growing up at gonna raves and that of like that sort of like you were saying about that White House rave, right?
Yeah, man.
All right, there's a stage, but the only reason the stage exists is so you can see me doing it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we don't need the stage. I can be in the middle of you, but there's no separation between me, the singer, and you, the audience. It's just that it's a communion of.
I think I said
shared experience.
It's like those stages that you have in the middle.
Yeah,
Everyone's around.
like in the round.
Yeah, it's a shared thing. Music's a
Yeah,
shared
yeah.
thing. Like if although I might be singing it, you're still receiving it.
Yeah.
It's
Meaning it.
There's something to do with frequencies, man. I genuinely believe that. Like, there's something when you're hit with somebody. Yeah, and music's like that as well. It's just it's literally a frequency. But when you just gel with like a song, it just can't get you.
Here's what I know for certain.
What
and
is
I can't
that?
be specific about this now, but the older I get, the more I feel it. Right, and there's some things about this world that we don't understand. Something to do with the spirit or the soul or where you go when you die or what the fucking meaning of life is.
Yeah.
And music, we're a little bit closer to grasping what that is through music.
Yeah.
It's like a higher thing, like
Yeah.
and sound and the resonance of sound. You're a DJ, right?
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
this, Jimmy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know that moment you drop a banger and all room.
Yeah.
You ever have that thing when you
There's
drop
a
a tune and
vibe.
everything goes like at slow motion?
Yeah. Oh,
It's
man.
like a little, even though you know tunes like twice as fast as it's going, it's kind of slow motion and it's like. I have it when Wednesday scored that equaliser against
That's
Peterborough.
another frequency.
And
Yes,
I for a
baby.
minute, I was like, my head's gonna fly off my body because there's this thing of when humans come together in unison and
Yeah.
Comedy and laughter is the same thing. When you go, comedy is one of my favorite things. When I go to a live show, even as a comedian I've never heard of, if he makes me laugh, you for a minute, when you're in that laughter, you forget that anything else exists.
Yeah.
Nothing. And you're laughing your head off. And then you just forget where you are. Then
do you ever have
come
that thing when
to.
you're laughing so much that like you feel a bit weird, a bit
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music makes you feel like good art can make you feel like
Good
that,
art.
right?
Yeah.
I think when you're performing music as well, there's some gigs that you do when you can feel that the whole room is with you and like moving with you and everything.
Powerful, eh?
Massively so. The first ever Day Fever that I did for you guys, not to just harp on about it, but we might as well talk about it because I've got it on my shirt and we're on topic. I played, I don't get to play this song very often with a good reaction, but I played S Express, theme from S Express in Liverpool, Camp and Furnace, and we built it up from like 50s, 60s, 70s, and I was playing a bit of 80s. And that just, when those horns come in, enjoy this trip, and it is a trip, and it kicks in, and everybody just went like, sort of dropped, and I was like, yes. And that the whole room, I was like, they're with me.
Class.
I've got them. Like, it's like you sort of build them up, and you get them, and you're like, you're nearly there, and you fucking get them.
It's very powerful. There's something very visceral about music as well because it's air sound waves moving and there's a physicality to it.
Well, you go back to the natives, like the drums, the tribal drums, when they go around and say, hey, yeah. Everybody samples them.
Yeah.
And there is like, it goes back for the dawn of time.
Yeah, man.
There's something to do with frequencies.
I'm into. I used to sort of bulk all this and thought it were like hippie bullshit, right? And I'm like, older I get, I'm like, no, let me move towards the light, right? Just there's something there, like just.
So you're coming up on a renaissance now. I think you might resonate on a level with something.
There's also a thing of like skin in the game, right? Where you've been doing something for so long that people are like, oh, you've just done loads of interesting shit. So it's kind of like, I think there's also a thing about it just being your time, the stars aligning.
Yeah.
Just feels like a good time for me at the minute. I can't explain it any more than that. Like I feel like something good's coming my way.
Are you enjoying writing music now as much as you always have? Or
More
is
so.
it? Yeah, more so.
More so.
I know,
free.
I've got it down in my notes. You like to travel when you write sometimes.
I've been in 51 countries, so I don't want to. I've started wearing some slightly smarter clothes of late, but I'm not really bothered about being Gianni Versace. I drive a Nissan fucking Micra, right? I live on a terrace road. I don't give a fuck about that. What I want is to go to mad countries. And I also have a joy about taking people I love to mad countries. So if I could drop you in middle of fucking Ethiopia with me and watch, I get pleasure from watching your face.
Mate, let's go.
And there's a bit of ego in that because I'd like to watch I like to know it was me what made that your face look like that.
Give us a year, we'll do a podcast in Ethiopia.
Live in
that would be
Ethiopia.
sick.
I go to mad places. If you ever want to go on a trip, you're welcome. Just last week, my mate Ruth, who I've been on loads of mad trips with, I've just made a film where I've gone from Sheffield to Zambia overland. and I'm looking at music to our twin city of Kitwe in Zambia.
Sick.
And I've gone overland, right? So I've gone to a electronic music festival at Source at Nile called Negi Negi, where everyone's off the nut on liquid ketamine and there's fucking crocodiles walking into the festival. Right?
Hell, man.
Yeah,
Vibes.
what?
Over there,
Vibes.
over there, my
Vibes.
mate Ruth saying to me, John, want to go to Greenland and get a fucking skidoo inland for 100 miles or some shit to make some music with some Eskimos? I'm like, sign me up, Ruth, let's go. Like, this
Do you,
is my
do you,
this
do
is
you
my
ever
thing.
say no
Say
to
yes.
stuff, John?
Yeah. I got asked to go to North Korea.
Oh,
There's a company called Juche Travel.
Whoa. Right. How
You
did
can
that
go.
how did
you
that
can
come
go.
about?
You can go. Like, if you want to go to North Korea, you can go.
Yeah.
It's not, people think it's forbidden. It's not. It's just, they're going to watch you everywhere. And if you fucking take a poster off wall or set wrong thing, then they'll lock you up.
Yeah.
So just fuck that. Where else have I been?
Damon's been, hasn't he? Didn't he write he wrote a Blur album there, right?
In North, I'm not sure if he's been to North Korea. I don't think it. You can go though. Chongqing in China. That's your connection. Pyongyang. I don't know if Damon's been. I don't think he has. But
So
I've been.
I feel like there's a Blur album, Magic Whip. Maybe it was inspired by North Korea, but maybe
I feel like they were in Hong Kong, maybe
Was
doing
it
that.
Hong
I feel
Kong?
like I want to say it were Hong Kong. It's definitely like they're definitely in Far East Asia though.
Yeah.
But like, listen, my grandparents were from Lake District and they
Yeah.
went to London once.
Yeah.
Right?
You gotta
My
beat that.
nanan never left Britain.
Yeah.
my dad. No. My mum, she's a little bit seasoned. She lived in South Africa for a while.
Go everywhere, man.
Yeah,
See it all,
I
do it
used to
all.
be a bit more like, I don't want to travel this, that, and the other. We've got the internet. Why would we need to? But as I get older, I'm like, nah, I want to go somewhere like Japan. And
It's
I
fucking-
get, I get a mad happy feeling when I'm somewhere far away.
I think you get a good perspective as well. You just get humbled.
See what I was saying about your kid?
Yeah.
Let that thing flower.
Yeah.
I take my kids with me to mad places now. I've took my kids to India. Took my kids to Thailand recording.
That's
Took
cool.
my kids to fucking Mexico on tour. Right? And I went to Chapel St. Me and Chris went to Chapel St. Leonard's on his holidays.
Yeah.
Right? We went to fucking Chapel St.
Yeah.
Right, we went to Benidorm.
We know that.
Went
we
to
know that.
Benidorm. We went to Benidorm.
We know Chapel St. Leonard's, baby.
So don't be wrong, I'm not disparaging that. That's cool.
No.
And that were great. And I've got great memories. But come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, I want my kids to think the world's small, not big.
Yeah.
Small. You can don't fear it. Just go. And also it teaches you something about other cultures. How are you gonna be xenophobic when you've fucking been all over the world chilling with people? You realise there's a commonality to a lot of human experience.
I was about to say that. You realise that we're all, a lot alike when you.
My favourite thing
Travel.
is when you're somewhere and I've not had this that often, to be honest, in Germany, but I was in Germany visiting a friend and I met a guy, didn't speak any English, so my German's pretty broken. His English was sort of like, basic words or whatever, but we just ended up communicating through sort of pointing, but we both found it quite funny.
Yeah.
Because because obviously I was gesturing towards what I wanted. The guy's sort of going like, it's funny that we can't talk to each other, but there was a connection there, which is nice.
Well, that's
yeah.
Go on, sorry.
Sorry, I was about to say just I had a roommate that I lived with who's Brazilian, and he had a Brazilian friend come over to the UK. He couldn't speak a lick of English,
Yeah.
but I had to look after him for the afternoon.
Yeah.
So I was like, do you know what? I'll take him with me and whatever. I was just vibing with him. We couldn't communicate, but I had my phone. This is not too long ago, about 5 years ago. I remember the only way I thought I'll make him laugh. So on my phone, I was walking around Tesco's and I just spoke to him on my phone. And I just translated what's a rude word in what did they speak? Portuguese.
Yeah.
And he said it to me, and I went, okay, cool. And I just walked around just shouting it, and he was howling because we're in the middle of England.
Love that.
And everyone's like, what the fuck's this guy saying? And he knew what I was saying. All the English people were like, oh, what's this fucking madman talking about? And he was just crying with laughter, and we bonded.
That's great.
I know
man.
some rude Japanese. Get on this. I never forgot this.
Here we go.
Nihongo ga heta de sumomasen,
Oh.
which means, sorry, my Japanese is wank. And Japanese people are like really polite and shit. You say this to them and they're like, look at you like, oh my God, you can't say that. What the fuck?
That's
Love that
fantastic. You just know Hayoki Shenchoi.
What's that mean?
Is
that even Japanese?
It's Chinese.
It's Chinese.
Cantonese to be specific. My friend taught me it. He taught me two phrases. One was "I will kill you," and two was "you stupid idiots." And I'm pretty sure Nehoyoka Chenshoi is "you stupid idiots."
Love
but
it.
my pronunciation is probably butchering
Yeah,
the
right.
fuck
Do you,
out.
do you know the Yorks are Japanese?
No.
So there's two blokes sat together. They're from Barnsley, right? And one says to the other, So I'm going to do the two guys, right? Who was she with? She was with sen. Was she? Ask she what? If you speed it up, who was she with? She was with sen. Was she? Ask she what?
Oh wow!
It sounds like a sort of some
it
sort
does.
of weird Japanese
right,
language, right?
Oh my god, that's class, man. That's class.
There you go.
How long we done, Dave?
Mate, like 2 hours 20,
Oh.
1 hour 20. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I mean, we should probably wrap it up soon. Because I don't.
Well, it's
wanna-
normally our episodes, but this
we
has
do.
just been
Yeah, no, mate. Honestly,
pleasure.
Whatever you wanna
thank
do,
you
lads.
so much for coming in. It's been so
Oh.
good to chat to you.
I love to talk, mate.
We've got a couple of bits. I've got a couple of bits. So I don't know if you ever thought. Have you heard of the rapper Beanie Siegel?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Beanie's like lost his voice,
Oh shit.
right? But there's a silver lining to that. He's currently using AI technology to recreate his voice.
Love that.
So then he can write songs.
Love that.
And then they can sing them in his voice. So are you all for AI?
I'm massively in for AI. Me and Dean Honer of the All Seen I Monster and
Yeah.
Brian Eno developed some AI technology with a guy called Ning Ma from China, who was at the University of Sheffield, and Professor Guy Brown. I'm a big advocate of AI. I've also talked extensively to Robert from Massive Attack about it, who gave me a great philosophy on
Massive
it, and it
Attack,
goes as
bang.
follows. Don't see it as a replacement, see it as a cobot.
Okay.
A cobot.
A cobot.
Jesus.
Cool,
Great.
right?
It's like they said that same about vinyl. Sorry, we'll go on to it. But
No,
whenever
go.
people are freaking out when, because when I was getting into DJ, it all became about USB turntables. Vinyl heads would freak out and be like, you can't do that. You can't beat match. And I was just like,
You're losing
you
the
got
essence.
you got to move with it.
Don't fear the future, man. Maybe somebody will have an accident and invent a new genre of music. Like.
Exactly. Yeah. And now, DJing has evolved.
Bring it on.
Go on, Jim.
So yesterday we used ChatGPT to write Reverend and the Maker's song, and I
Love
wondered if
it.
you would read a verse and a chorus of it to see if it would work for
Let's
you.
have a go then.
I saw the clip that you did with the lottery winners on their
Yeah.
little podcast that you did together, where you said that you liked your garden peas with mint jelly.
Yeah.
So it's called Mint Jelly Dreams, I believe.
I like it. Psychedelic. Woke up this morning in a seaside town where the lights flicker on as the sun goes down. Kids on the corner laughing, nothing at all. I'm just strolling through the markets where the street lights call. Found a fella selling stories for a pint or two. Tales of broken hearts and skies gone blue. Smell of salt and vinegar chips down the alley. Garden peas with mint jelly tucked in the valley. Sheffield, right? Chorus. Oh, garden peas with mint jelly, a taste of home in this northern town. Life's a mess, but the world spins steady. Holding tight, never letting down. With a sip of ale and my thoughts on the telly, I'm dreaming sweet with mint jelly. Down by the river, the buskers play a tune. Echoes in the alleyways late afternoon. The sound of footsteps, heels on the stone. In this crooked little city, you're never alone. Old men at the pub with their heads held high. Laughing about the young, but still giving them a try. Odd. I sit back and smile, got nothing to tell you. Just garden peas with mint jelly. Oh, garden peas with mint jelly. A taste of home in this northern town. Life's a mess, but the world spins steady. Holding tight, never letting down with a sip of ale. My thoughts on the telly. I'm dreaming sweet with mint jelly.
I don't think you've got anything to worry about quite yet.
I mean, fucking hell. I mean, it's just wild, that. Do you know what, though?
We've put a lot of your information in there. I was like, can you come up with some names for a Reverend and the Makers, but an AI version? And they were like the algorithm preachers, the bite and the believers, AI and the fakers. There's
Do you ever use Suno? Have you ever used Suno AI?
No.
Like, it's a website. I've made this medley of AI, which I can play when we finish. I'm going to re-record it. It's the fucking best 12 minutes of music
Wow.
I've ever made. It's fucking unbelievable.
Sick.
Sounds like if the Temptations made Abbey Road.
Yeah, I remember my missus come home from work and said, we wrote a song at work. And all done on AI. And I was like, as a creative person, I was like, okay. And she showed me it. And I was like, oh, shit.
No, embrace it. Like
This is
because
quite
it's
good.
great.
Yeah,
like-
Yeah, I am on that side of the fence now. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
We're
because
moving-
you have to move with it.
Yeah,
I think
we're moving
sometimes you
with
can
it.
think about things in a binary way, right? So the internet.
What did you call it? Something bot.
Cobot.
Cobot.
So it's like, don't think about it in a binary way. The internet is both good and bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
AI is both good and bad. I, as a person, am both good and bad. Yeah?
Yeah.
This podcast is often good and bad
Yeah.
at once, at the fucking same time, right? Things can exist
grey.
in sort of multitudes and be complementary or adversarial at the same time. And I think sometimes as humans, we want things to be a cowboy movie, right? You're the goodies and you're the baddies, and it don't work like that.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of slowly but surely just interface with AI and make it part of your life, because here's what's not going to happen. It ain't going to go away.
No.
Yes, absolutely.
It's here to stay.
Have you got any questions, Dave?
Yeah, why did you go to, was it a West Ham game?
Wait. No. You got to set it up better than that.
Oh, sorry.
So-
You do it. You know
Why did
exactly
they go
what I'm
to a
saying.
West Ham game?
So not West Ham game. I've got it
We've
completely
been doing deep dives on
Okay.
you. So we know you're a big Sheffield Wednesday
Yeah.
fan.
That's it. Sorry.
Not West Ham.
Yeah, that's me.
Up the Hammers.
Dave
Fucking up the Hammers.
Dave knows you're a massive West Ham
Yeah.
fan because he's done
West
loads of
Ham.
research.
Up the Hammers.
So was it 1994 FA Cup final? Sheffield Wednesday.
1993.
1993.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
Beat Sheffield United. If I
In
don't
the semi-final.
in the
yeah.
semi-final. Did you go to that one as well?
I did. Yes.
And there is a picture of you at the FA Cup final for Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
But you were wearing a gorilla mask.
I'm dressed as a gorilla. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We put that in here.
there's no reason for that other than
ADHD is the reason.
we woke up and I feel like one of us had been playing a monkey or a gorilla in a school play or something like that. This is what I think it were,
Yeah.
and we'd got to take this mask on to fucking try it on. It's like a full thing,
Yeah.
and I feel like I just woke up one day and just thought I'll just wear that
To Wembley.
to Wembley, and I wore it, which is just massively weird, isn't it?
Are there any pictures of you without it on, or did you have it on in every photograph of
I think
you
I
being
might
at
have even
Wembley?
watched match with it online. It's fucking wild, like.
Did you lost the game? But was it easier to watch?
We drew the actual game. We lost subsequently in a replay on the
Oh, right.
on the Wednesday night, which is the first time I ever cried over football.
Oh man.
First time I ever cried over football was Man United winning the treble. With happiness.
Mine was David Beckham 98 when he got sent off.
It's funny when you remember.
How can he do that?
It's funny when you remember where you were when
I remember exactly where we were, yeah.
I was shagging
upstairs.
when Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer scored. No, when first goal went in. When first goal went in. Who scored first? Sheringham.
Yeah.
And we're like shagging, and I'm like, oh, they've lost. They've lost. So like, my missus at times on top of me, and we're like, she's got this telly on top at wardrobe, right? And it's like on, but we're not watching it. Sheringham. And I'm like, Sheringham. And I'm like, get the fuck off. and then fucking Solskjaer scored, right? And I'm like, oh my God. But the other one I remember football match is when Liverpool were losing 3-0 to AC Milan in the Champions League semi-final, and they ended up winning on penalties, and they were 3-0 down, and I were at my mate's house, Eddie, our guitarist. I'm like, let's do a tune. I've got this idea for a tune. It kind of goes like that, like, can you play me that? He's like playing it. I'm like, I've got it. It becomes heavyweight, right? And by the time we went back downstairs, Liverpool had equalised, and it were penalties. But you remember where you were, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worth
Where were you when Beckham got sent off?
I was at my dad's boss's house. He was like my dad's an orthodontic technician in the NHS, so he makes like braces and that.
Okay.
And then his boss was like a top dentist or whatever, big house and that with a garden. And we were all sat in the conservatory watching the telly because he had a big telly and that. And I remember Beckham getting sent off, and I just went outside and played footy because I was like, it's over now. Can't even
Mate,
watch the rest of the game.
Fucking broke my heart.
Just
Like.
crying.
That was the most convinced I ever was that we were going to win the World Cup. Like,
Yeah.
I was like,
My
when
most
Owen
co-
put that goal in, we're not going to fucking do
My
it.
most convinced we're going to win, well, the Euros was literally gone. I was like, this is it. This is it. We're going to win the Euros. What the hell? And then we didn't. I was like, shit.
There's a mad story about me and Chris and the Euros where we got to the final.
Was the one 2021?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I probably need to tell you when we finish this because
Okay.
it's
Alright, yeah.
it's
yeah,
somewhere
we're looking forward to
between the craze and fucking Only Fools and Horses, but it's wild. Like, it's a wild story, so I'll tell you in a bit.
Yes, man.
Amazing.
We're looking forward to that one. We have one more thing.
One more thing. Okay, good.
I've been asked to ask you what the protocol is when there's an earthquake in Sheffield.
This is our Chris, isn't it? What a fucking, in fact, that gorilla one's our Chris. And what a fucking prick he
He
is.
sent the picture over as well, which we will put in if you don't
Such
mind.
a bell end. Do you know when like little brothers do this thing where they sort of misremember things because they were like young and fucking in bed and like they just like he has this couple of weird fucking things with our Chris. What? He's a compulsive fucking liar, number one. So he's like, I told live on Princess Di. It doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter apart from to me because it's bullshit. He went. I told everyone Princess Diana died. I'm like, you didn't. I did. He went, and then he's like, looked at me. He's like, no, I did. I'm like, Chris, fuck off. I did. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I were up. It was Sunday morning. Tony Blair come on telly. Princess Diana's died. Went up and told my mum and dad. You woke up, everyone's upset. He's like, fuck off, that's bullshit. He went, I woke up, saw it, but then I didn't think it were a thing, so I went back to sleep, and then I told everyone, like, you're a lying bastard. So that's just proof he's a lying fucker, right? So the earthquake thing's another thing. That's just utter bullshit. He's just such a fucking liar. So the truth of this is I've been working at Boardwalk now. This is when I've come home.
You and Alex Turner.
All that. 1 o'clock, I'm fucking, my mum and dad are in bed. Made a brew. I've had a spliff. I'm stoned as fuck. Back in the day when he used to build like big fucking bum batties.
Big
like,
doobies,
right?
yeah.
So smoked this big fucking Cuban fucking spliff, right? And I'm like, sat watching telly right now. And next thing, boom. I'm like, what the fuck? Shit my pants. Oh my God. And I can hear my dad upstairs now. Oh my God. What was that? My mother, like, you can see seen that. Oh my God. What was that? Oh my God. Oh, what was that? Then there was like another little tremor after. Now, as Chris has it, I've ranked coppers. What? My house is shaking. Fucking bollocks, I ranked coppers. What a you lying bastard. Cut this up into one of them internet clips. Right?
I got it, yeah.
Fuck off, Chris.
He did say you rang the coffers to be
He's
fair.
a fucking prick.
Yeah, he did give us that gorilla picture's unbelievable.
There you go. There's your fucking viral moment online. Chris McClure, you lying fuck.
And he was trying to talk his band up, wasn't he, to Oasis when you were playing with them.
Oh God, he used to do this thing when he was mashed, and he's like, John, honestly, right? Offers nut at a rave or like right stoned in the house, and he'd be like, John, you know Kabishke? This is a guitarist in his band. Talented lad, no doubt. He's like, John is a fucking genius, right? He's got these like proper fucking dark tunes, like proper like fucking Josh Homme or like Mark Lanigan and that. And listen to this, and he'd like come right up to you like bollocks, and he'd like spit in your ear and sing his new tune. And I'm like, Chris, you fucking sang me this one 7 times before, and it was fucking shit. Then why don't you just fucking leave me alone? So we've gone to the Oasis after show party. Kate Moss is here. Fucking Serge from Kasabian, such and such off telly. Noel's got tunes on. We've all had a pill. It's fucking a right vibe. Chris has turned Noel's tune off. He's like, Noel, I'm in a band, me saying, right? And I've got, just so happens I've got CD in my pocket. So I'm like, you're a prick, you. So I've gone all fucking, no, I didn't stick that on him straight away. I've gone on and went, Chris, what the fuck you doing? This is my hero. I've just become mates with him. This is the biggest night of my fucking life. I'm supporting hero at Wembley Stadium. But John, it's a fucking good tune. I think Noel will be into it. I went, Chris, you're a prick. He went, you're a fucking prick. Which immediately we're back to being like 12. You're a fucking prick. I went, fuck off, Chris. Don't call me a prick. He went, you're a prick. I went, bang. I've nutted him. He smacked me. Noel's had to come between us. And it was him who split us up. So I've got it in my head now that like Noel's going to think I'm a right cunt. As it turns out, him and his brother, they're partial to a scrap themselves.
Yeah, similar dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah, fucking all that Celtic fucking warring siblings, all that shit. You know, it's drilled, doesn't he? So we're like, fucking Spider-Man meme.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. Oh, it's class. Any more questions from you, David?
That's it, I think.
No worries, John. Thank you so much for coming in. It's been a pleasure, man.
Thanks for having us, boys.
It's been lovely.
Longest podcast we've done.
Hey, we can fucking rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, God bless, pal.
God bless.
Thanks, John. Before we go, we need to do some plugs, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So buy tickets to John's gig, 20 years of Reverend and the Makers, Rock and Roll Circus.
You're watching Depressed Podcast with me, Jon McClure, the Reverend. No, I'll do that again. You're watching Depressed Podcast with
Depressed
me.
CEOs, John.
It's Depressed CEOs, John.
Hang on, how do I say it?
Depressed
Depressed
CEOs.
CEOs. Why am I saying Depressed Podcast?
It is quite depressing.
Let me say it again. Depressed Podcast. Oh, shit. You're watching a depressing podcast. You're watching Depressed CEOs Podcast with me, Jon McClure, the Reverend.
And plug yourself, John.
Yeah,
Where
plug
can we
yourself,
see you?
John. Where can we find you?
You can come and see 20 years of Reverend and the Makers at the Rock and Roll Circus, Don Valley Bowl, August 30th, 2025. Tickets are flying. It's us. It's Groove Armada. It's Pete Doherty and Carl Barat.
Unbelievable.
It's the lottery winners. It's Everly Pregnant Brothers. It's Day Fever with Jimmy May. It's going to be Harriet Rose. There's loads of shit on. It's going to be the biggest and best party in town. 55 quid a ticket. Don't fuck about.
We'll be there. We'll see you there. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you so
Once
much,
again, catch you again soon.
Blessings.
Cheers,
Bye,
mate.
bye, bye, bye.
Bye-bye.